What's good? What's good? What's good, everybody? I'd like to welcome y'all to episode 2 of Thoughts Brewing, man. I appreciate everybody coming out today. I appreciate y'all coming out. This was something that was born actually from a conversation I had with fellow brother Aerospike. He's probably going to join me on here in a little bit. But this thought of this one came from, he and I were just talking. And we started talking about some of the stuff that we was going through and how the enemy has been attacking us in a certain area. And I was like, man, I had brought it up. I was like, man, since I was first starting as a brew, I was good. But here lately, this joint been like just trying to come up and all kinds of nonsense. And it was like, he was like, yo, me too. So I was like, all right. I know if I'm having this issue, you having this, I know there's more people out here that's going through this, that's dealing with this. And I really just wanted to open up the floor and talk about this. Now, what I'm talking about today is definitely going to be sexual sin. And especially like, lust and pornography, the secret sins, the little stuff that you can kind of keep in your back pocket and nobody don't know about, because you can be just by yourself in the shower. And then, it's just like, oh, it's just between me and the shower curtains. Ooh. Like, no. I like quoting them a lot, but one of my favorite lines from a rapper called Corey Red, he's a Hebrew rapper. My man said, Christ sees you in the shower. Christ sees you with your eyes closed, having freaky sex in the shower. Like all of these things, Yah sees. And a lot of times, because of the nature of them, Satan likes to kind of make you feel like you're the only one going through this, or you're not enough, or you're suffering, or you're having issues because you're going through this issue and you're having like this problem, and he'll try to make it seem like you're the only one having that problem. So we kind of really wanted to just come out today to just put this thing out in the open and talk about, and really to give encouragement. That was really my thought process for this, is I wanted to encourage the body, because I know we're not the only ones that have been getting attacked by this nonsense. And we're not the only ones that have this come on. And, everybody likes to talk about all the other sins and stuff. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, by pride, be trying to show up. And, they all go in with that. And everybody talks about all the other ones. But the sexual sin is usually the one that nobody want to talk about. Everybody kind of act like, oh, I'm good. I'm straight. I'm fine. Like nobody wanted to talk about that. But it's a real thing when you just sitting there minding your own business, and then boom, stuff start just pouring in your mind out of nowhere. Or you just seem like every person, you walking, I know as a man, we go through this. It seems like every woman today just decided to wake up and choose violence and not wear anything as you walk around through the store. I'm just in here just to pick up some eggs and some milk, and here these folks in here trying to sell everything else on the farm. So welcome, Brother Aerospike. I appreciate you joining me, man. Appreciate you coming in and joining me today.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Yeah, sorry about that. I had the time off just by an hour.
No, you all good, bro. You all good.
Remember, you're on East Coast time. I'm on Midwest. I'm like, whoops, gotta go.
Man, I'll be up all night with other folks stuff because of the East Coast time. Everybody's like, oh, it's 6 o'clock here. I'm like, nah, man, it's like 9 o'clock. I'm like, it's like 11 o'clock in my time, man. But yeah, I just really wanted to, go in today. I was glad that you agreed to join me, because what we talked about was a real talk issue. It was a real talk situation that a lot of people have been, suffering in silence about. And it's not, this isn't something, we're not going to get vulgar. It's not going to be raunchy, but this is something that is true that goes on, because this society that we live in, man, they use sex to sell butter.
Absolutely. Yes, they do. They absolutely do.
I'm in here looking for a pillow, and y'all got half naked women all over the place. Like, come on, man.
Yeah. No matter where you where you go, especially on television, it could be the most benign of things, but they're gonna make sure that they're gonna have something that's gonna catch your, especially for men and women, to catch your eye, to have you think about more than just what they're trying to sell.
Exactly. Even in movies and stuff. And this is the reason why I really wanted to bring this up, because I know a lot of us go through this. We just open enough to just talk about it. I ain't got no shame in my game. But yes, I'll be sitting down. Man, what was I doing? It was something so benign. I think I was reading about Herodotus. Yes, I was reading Herodotus. Now, mind you, this is, the dude called the father of history. I'm reading through the histories by Herodotus, and you just get a random thought out of nowhere about sexual thought just come popping up. And I'm like, what? wait a minute now.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm reading about him talking about them getting gold from these Cyclops, but they ain't got nothing in there that gets, nothing about that fits my fancy.
Right. And it's like I said, and it's extremely difficult, especially for us here in the 21st century, to get away from it. Because again, we have media everywhere. You can drive down an expressway, boom, there's the board right there, and it's like, hey, hotel rooms, and there's somebody spread out over it. It's like, wait a minute, I'm just trying to get on vacation. Why do I need to see that as I'm driving?
It's everywhere, bro. It is everywhere. And it's even in the stuff that we don't even pay. Like some things that where they get us the most is when it's in the stuff that we like. Like I tell about myself. I don't tell nobody else. I had a video game that I thought was one of the best RPGs ever made. It was called The Witcher 3. And that game was just ridiculous. But after I woke up and I really started paying attention, and even then I was making excuses, even in my little churchianity mind. But when I really got serious and y'all woke me up to who we are, I started looking around at stuff, and literally, I know that this awakening was real, because stuff that I tolerated as a Christian, I can't tolerate now.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Things that I made excuses for as a Christian, I don't make excuses for no more. And that was one thing, because in the game, you got romance options. Unfortunately, all your romance options turn out to be witches, and they show nudity. So it's like, how in the world can you sit here and not go into a place of lust and fornication in your mind when you sit here looking at it in the doggone in the video game of all things? It's in the video games. It's on TV like crazy, just like you said. You can walk down the street and then boom, 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 all this stuff is there. So, we really wanted to come up with this as a encouragement for the body, to let people know that, this is not something that you're going through by yourself. And we wanted to help strengthen everybody in the way that we, this is, Paul said, confess your sins one to another. You know what I'm saying? And this is one that's usually difficult to confess, because everybody wants to act like they Superman and that they can just, walk around like super savior, super saint. They got the Bible written all on their body.
Right.
You know how it is. You get these super saints that, I don't know nothing about that, and they just praise God 24/7. They'll never go through nothing. But over here in the real world, we go through issues. What I'm saying?
On the daily.
And just because you have something pop into your mind, just because you struggle with something, doesn't mean that you got this problem or you're wrong. Now I say struggling with it. Now I'm not talking about just falling in and being like, oh well, this is how I feel and this is how I go, because they've pushed this narrative too much in society that men just can't control themselves. And now they're even pushing it even for women. For women though, it's the opposite. They're saying, it's empowering.
I can tell you right now, there was a person who was, I would say, a Facebook or Instagram friend, somebody I had recorded a bass line for some time ago, and she's an up and coming musician, and she's actually gotten some acclimates now, but this is going back about 9 years ago or so. As she got older, she started changing. And so it was like, okay, girl, say you was all cool and instant with the guitar, but now you decided that you want to say, I'm not going to use any of the words that she used, but basically said her femininity is a power, but she's using another word, for that. And said, again, and just started to show just enough on her thing, for guys especially, follow her. And it's like, why? You're a talented musician. There is no need for you have to show off your, what Yah has given you in order to maintain that. Your musicianship should be able to do that by itself. But and it's like, and so it made it difficult for me to be like, I don't think I'm gonna be going to her page because I don't want to see all that. I supported her as a musician years ago, but I'm like, I don't want to see you like that. 'Cause that's not how I view you.
No, that's perfect that you even mentioned that, because that helps me segue into put this up here so folks can see it, into the scripture that really came on my mind when I thought about this here. This one that everybody's familiar with, but I really don't think that we really, especially now, it's more real now, especially with social media and stuff. It's Matthew 5, and I'm going to be reading from 27. It says, "Ye have heard that it was said," this is King James Version. "This is, you have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh upon a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee. For it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and that not that thy whole body should be cast into hell." Now, I found it very hilarious, when I was reading it through again. I'm like, man, y'all said if your right hand offends you, why did he go from the eyes to the hand? Why did he go from the eyes to the hand? It's like
interesting segue.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's very, very specific members that he went to, your eyes and your hand, and he did it in order. So because he knows once you start with your eyes, the next thing you know, you're gonna start moving your hands, and you're gonna be in a situation where you're gonna be like, oh boy.
Yes. Right.
Right. Go ahead. You about to say something, brother?
No. I was gonna say exactly. Like I said, Yah's words, his words are purposeful. He just does not say things in a random fashion. Everything is in an order for a particular reason.
But man, come on, man. That's the other thing that churchianity has taken away from us, is taking our common sense to look at the word and to see what Yah is saying, how he said it. And he did it specifically. He went from your eyes to your hands. And again, it said men, but women, this go from you too, because guess what? Some of the stats that's showing now, women are more addicted, especially young girls are addicted to pornography just like men now. Women are getting into pornography almost as hardcore as men.
Right, exactly. But I said again, but what's normally simply promoted is, this is, something for the guys, for the men, because that the sexual desire of men, in a way, admittedly, biologically, is a little bit stronger than that of a woman. For the most part, I'm not saying that for everybody, but for the most part, that's what it's like. So a lot of these things are geared towards men.
Correct.
But as you said, would say, the so-called empowerment and so forth, for women. Now that is being pushed of we seeing, guys being put out there for the women to start desiring.
Oh yeah, and it's out there heavy right now, especially with women. Women. It used to be back in the day. You wouldn't hear so much as it was talked about with women, but women are going through this thing as well, and it's not just for heterosexual relationships; it's even in homosexual relationships.
Yes, it is.
I've seen that. What was her name over at Redirecting over there with Watchmen? Man, I love watching those two men minister together. It's a blessing to see the husband and wife minister like that. And she did a real talk video that she talked about this crazy dream that she had. And it was like just a sea of women in the comments saying the same thing, like, oh, I had this dream, I had a dream. Same thing. It is a dream, homosexual dream coming at her, where she was dreaming about this lady that she had an encounter with. That the encounter was like regular. It was literally just like, I think it was something benign. And it came out to be, something like that with the enemy attacked, because that's what he does. He comes in your mind. And I really just wanted to encourage everybody today, to really let you know that this isn't, you're not going through this alone. What Satan likes to do is he likes to make you feel like, oh, you're not really, oh, you say you woke up, huh? Oh, you say you say you saved, oh, you say you follow Yah, you say you following this, or what's this? Oh, you're not worthy, or oh, you're not this, and you're not that. And he'll try to beat you down with it because you're sitting there and you're struggling with it. Now, again, I'm not saying if you just going all in, like, hey, it is what it is. Like, what would the Pope say?
Oh yes, sexual sin, sins of the flesh are not that bad.
Yes, they're not that bad. They're not that bad. Oh man, and yo, Rumahat, man, she's so on point, man. That's another thing too. That's another ladies. A lot of this stuff that's aimed at you as like self-care, quote unquote. Yes. A lot of it has very lustful and demonic origins. That yoni stones that she's talking about, where they steam their lady parts and all that. All of that comes from Hindu mythology. That's where the word yoni comes from. It means that it's basically means the woman's part. That's what that means in Hinduism. And that all of that comes from those spiritual practices. But they'll give it to you in the spa, like, oh, you can get your back massage, you can get a facial massage. Oh, and then we'll also throw in this other service there. So you'll think, oh, it's just like a regular thing. Man, that's how integrated just lust is with our everyday society.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I said, it's very prevalent, especially those in I would call the conscious community or the African spirituality. The idea of the yoni is extremely popular right now. They focusing on that and doing some other, again, like I said, we just want to obviously be careful with our language here of women exposing their femininity to the sun.
Yes. Y'all have heard about that. Yeah.
That's what I said, because I know somebody who has, talked about that, and it's like this madness, this absolute madness. Like, why would you show your business to the sun and expose your bit to the outside like that? Why would you do that and possibly invite infection? Not only, again, biological, but let's be real. You think nobody gonna see you?
Come on, man. They don't care about that no more. Like, they actually up in New York. This is again showing you the level of where we are as a society. You got people in New York, basically women say, oh, well, if a man can go topless, then women should go topless. And they stay having marches and protests for women to be able to just walk around topless.
Right. And then and this, like I said, that's why I said with someone in Romans that the fleshly mind cannot obey God, and this is what we're seeing. Because if you can if a woman can show, again, that's part of her glory to the world, not just to her husband, but to the world like that,
bro. This is
danger.
It's literally, there's nothing new under the sun. When I said in my first episode that it's hammer time, it's hammer time, because guess what the Maccabees was coming against? The gymnasiums were known. When you see those pots where they have all the naked dudes and it look like they all fighting each other, that was done in the gymnasium. Yes. Gymnasiums was just where men was just, naked, and they just used to just wrestle and do all their sportsman-like stuff, just all on each other. And this is what they wanted to bring into the kingdom. And this is what we have right now, where you have even some folks that claim to be Hebrews with this stuff talking about having, multiple wives and all this, this nonsense there. They want multiple wives because their flesh is not in check.
Correct. So you see that, you see with Hebrews, you see it in the conscious community, especially, like I said, again, those who've embraced what they call African spirituality and African culture is promoting polygamy. They are promoting it hardcore because, again, to build up the family, we should have multiple wives. It's like, when Yah created us, did he not say, that he said that there was not a helper that was good for man until he created Eve? And how many did he create? Did he create Eve, Shauna, Tanya? No, there was one. He created one woman. He didn't, Adam did not have a harem where he was with somebody else every other night. It was one person. But it wasn't until, like I said, until obviously later on, I said, when he told be fruitful and multiply, he gave us the ability between two people to be able to do that. And later on, like I said, other time was just lust because of the sin.
Man, this part right here, man. Like, this is some of the reason why I really started wanting to work out at home too, man. Because I'll never forget, I went to the gym and I went to go deadlift. And they had like 3 benches. So the other benches, it was more than 3, but the other benches were all full except for these 2 at the end. So I see this lady next to the other one, and she's doing her squats. So I go and do my squats. She has a camera set up on the other bench and had it turned around, looking at her to film herself doing that on Instagram.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sitting there and I just look at her and I look at the camera. She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And then she goes and ends her little Instagram video, and then I can use the thing. But it's like, people don't, even men do this too. like this is not just even a woman thing. Dudes do it too. Like they use social media to go thirst trapping. That's what they call. That's what it is. It's a thirst. They call it a thirst trap. I'm an '80s baby. That's our vernacular. They call it thirst trap because you got these cats out here thirsty, and it's not just dudes that's thirsty. Women is thirsty nowadays too.
Yep.
This is why, you know, like I said, I didn't do it at anybody in particular, but when I opened up and had cats joined in my Facebook and stuff, and I started getting, you know, messages from all different ladies, I'm like, whoa. Let me make this be known in the beginning because I don't want to open the door for the devil at all. I want no openings. So I'm going to just start off with the, you know, everybody knows my infamous post, like Big Red from the 5 Heartbeats, my office hours. Are from 8 to 5. Don't you be coming out here messaging me late at night. All y'all over there in England, it's okay. I understand. I'm y'all good with me. Shout out Chantel, you my homie. But no, don't come up in here with that nonsense. And this is how you have to be as a man. And you know, I remember my mom used to always, man, anytime any woman came into church, she would just get on me and on me and on. She would, like, if I even went to say hi, she would like just get on me. And I understand now because it doesn't look right for you to always be in ladies' faces. A lot of dudes, a lot of time, I got female friends. I got female friend, bro, ain't that many female friends that you need. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not saying that you can't have any, but you know, at some point, it's like, you don't got no male friends, my guy?
Right. Is that all you talk to is female friends? That's all?
Exactly. Even females. Oh, I don't have that many female friends. I have all guy friends. Oh, okay. But you mean to tell me there's no females around that you can be friends with? You know, side note, I think that would be a more issue on you versus them. But if you can't vibe with no females, like all of these excuses that have been thrown out there that people say that just allow them to get led into lust. They're like, oh, you know, looking is fine. You can't, it doesn't hurt to look. You know, just looking is okay.
No, it's not. It's where it starts.
What does the word say about that? I'm going here. This is Romans 12. I'm going to read out of Romans 12 here for a moment. I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of Yah, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto Yah, which is your reasonable service. Be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. I'm going to read that part again. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of Yah. For I say through the grace given unto me that every man is among you think not of himself more highly than he ought to think, but think soberly according to Yah hath dealt to every man the measure of faith. So, you know, what my man was saying here, the body is a temple, man. Our body is a temple. We can't sit here and allow these things to come into our mindset, because a lot of stuff we allow because it's a good TV show. Like I see lots of Hebrews and lots of folks, you know, liking like Power. Oh yeah, I watch Power, but
never seen it.
I don't watch it either. But I know Power got some scenes and some crazy stuff, because every time, you know, something going down with Power back in the day when it was on and it was like popping, I would always see my Facebook timeline just blowing up and people talking about it and stuff. And I would see some folks that, you know, was in the faith talking about it too. And I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
You know, it's I'm not that dude that's telling you that, oh, watching this is a sin, watching that and a sin. Everything is, you know, lawful, as they like to say, but is it good? Right. Is it proper for you to watch it? If you're trying to abstain from sexual sin, and why would watching a show that's promoting the very opposite of your values, what good is that going to give you?
Correct. Exactly. Like I said, again, I mean, some shows that are, you know, like I said, are blatant about it, like, you know, shows from back was like the 90s or the early 2000s, Sex in the City. It's obvious what it's about,
right?
But there are shows that's not so obvious. One of the shows that I used to watch, you know, briefly, and just till it started changing up and, you know, becoming nasty, was The Good Wife. It was a law show. It was political, you know, political drama, legal drama, and so forth. And then it got into perversion with people with, like I said, with female homosexual relationships and so forth, and got graphic. Got to the point where it said, they're doing what? Okay, bye. and I haven't seen it since.
And, you know, it's like I've mentioned this before that I was trying to watch Black Lightning with my son.
Yes.
And we couldn't. I like literally first episode. I sit down, I'm watching it with him, and then bam, lesbian sex scene, and I'm like, "Whoa, wait, what?"
Yeah.
And this is the CW. This is the CW. I think was it Maury Isaiah? He had posted that on Facebook about the CW, about it being basically the alphabet committee of nonsense. And I believe he's absolutely right. Because I mean, I'm like, man, this was a show pushed off, you know, black superhero. This is how they get us, you know, because we're like, oh, it's all of us, it's all black cast. Oh yeah, so we turn down, we tolerate more nonsense because we get so little representation in media that's positive. When they throw us their nonsense, we still take it.
Right, exactly. Because again, you know, a lot of us are still, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of us are still looking for that acceptance from the numerically dominant culture. We still want that acceptance.
Right.
And it's like we have to come with we have to get, and well, my opinion is we have to get to the point where we are cool with not being represented with them whatsoever.
Right.
And like that, you know, because they're going to put out there what they're going to put out there about us, what they think about us, so forth. And there's nothing that's what we're going to do to change that, because it's an issue of the heart. And if their hearts are not changed, they are not going to change how they portray us in their media.
But man, say that, brother. That is it right there. You know that the heart of these people is wicked and nonsense. You know that the heart of these people towards us is not good. You see what they have done to us in the past. You see how they set up brothels. See, this lust thing that's in us is different, because you notice every time they want to push a sex symbol out there, who do they use? Who do they use when they push these so-called sex symbols out there? Who do they use? Who are they always using? They always use a Hebrew, whether it be a Hebrew man or especially Hebrew women. They love to throw Hebrew women out there, and they love to look the Cardi B's and the Meg the Stallions, and back in the day the Little Kims and the all of them. You know what I'm saying? They come on like that. Why is it that we can't have any female artist that comes out? Why can't they just? Why they all have to be hypersexualized?
Right. They have to make sure again that they would have someone, they said, who exudes sexuality. They have to, you know, be overpouring with that in order to be like, oh, this is good. You know, they couldn't take somebody who doesn't have all that and consider them attractive or powerful. They have to make sure that they are, let's say, overblown in all the proportions and put out there, like the women that you had just mentioned, Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, on all that. They're making sure they're looking like that, so get men's eyes popping out their head, and not having somebody, you know, who may be a bit more modest in how they dress. And I'm gonna give you a good example of people who are like that, who are in the media that got kind of begin shunned by them because they wouldn't put themselves out there. Lauryn Hill, India Arie.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, India later started actually getting, I think she talked about that, a matter of fact, on I follow her on Instagram, and she kind of started, now she's actually starting. I probably got to unfollow her now, because she's saying that now she's getting in touch with her feminine side and she's going to express herself more. And then now you see her wearing more revealing clothing and stuff.
Yes, and sadly, like I said, my musician friend that I told you about, that's exactly what she did.
Woo! What?
That's exactly it. Almost with those same words. It's saying no. Basically, again, taking her femininity and using it, whether she realizes it or not, almost as a weapon. It's a weapon. Yeah. Or you can get these guys, you know, to follow your music and stuff like that. But it's like, you got to understand, the guys are not caring necessarily about the music. They want to see your body. That's it.
Yes, that's facts. And Talisha Yard makes a very good point, because it reminds me of a story way back in the day. there was this it was a group called Passion for Christ Ministries. It was a little ministries aimed at, you know, younger folks and stuff like that. And it was dope. You know, they had different, you know, music. They talked about different, you know, hip hop music artists and stuff. Talked about stuff that, you know, more younger cats was aimed at, you know, and stuff. Because, you know, people in the church was too busy trying to get money, and they want, you know, once they got the money from the young folks, that's all they was worried about. They, you know, the pastor wasn't trying to stop you from going out there and sleeping around, because he was sleeping around.
Yeah. Come to the pulpit.
Come on now. Come on now. That's why I say this thing need to come out, man, because it's been in us from slavery. It's been in us from the church. This junk has been something, one of Hasatan's main weapons against us as a people. Even back in the day when Balaam couldn't curse us, what did he do?
Right.
For those who don't know the story of Balaam, when Balaam he could not curse. He could not come against. See, when you in the will of Yah, the devil cannot touch you. When you are walking in the will of Yah, Satan can't come at you. He can't go at you. He can't bring you down. So what did he do? Balaam's like, look, man, I can't send my demons to go mess with them. But if you get some of them fine women over there and you start getting them to sashay over there around.
Yes, the eyes were popping.
Get some of them little fine foreign women that don't look like them and they got them bad, odd cultures. Because what folks don't, you know, they know, people say it, but I don't really think they know that when you are out here having sex, that is a spiritual connection.
Yes,
this is why it's used so prominently in satanic circles, because it's the quickest way for them to spread spirits and to spread mayhem. This is something that it's deeper than just feeling good and, you know, ooh, yay, this is nice. It's way deeper than that. This is why they keep pushing it the way they pushed it. And on Passion for Christ Ministries, they had this young lady come on, and she was a former porn star. Now, this is where I had the problem with it. The lady had just gotten delivered from when she came out of the porn industry, and they had her on there giving an interview. Now, the whole time I'm looking at this interview, I'm thinking it's fascinating listening to her story, but I'm having to pray, because just like what Sister Yah says right here, the sexual spirit of lust, it's a spirit, and she hadn't been delivered of that spirit. And so since she had been in it to such a heavy degree, I mean, she was a hardcore, straight up porn star, man. She was in there, videos, all of it. And she's out there talking to the, you know, this pastor, and she's telling her story and giving her thing. And I'm like, this is good information, but man, she need to sit down and get delivered first.
Yes. She absolutely, because that spirit will affect those around. Even though she's giving a testimony, if she's not delivered from that spirit, you don't think that spirit is going to be looking through the audience and be like, and see who's susceptible?
Man, come on, man. And then the funny thing about it is, not too long after that, his name was Pastor Justin. Pastor Justin fell into sexual sin.
Yeah.
Not too long after that. Now, I'm not saying that to, you know, put the brother down or nothing like that, but this is because this is what Yah says. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because people don't learn and sit down and want to just be made by Yah. I understand she had an amazing testimony, and I think it was a great thing that she wanted to share it. But at the same time, we need to sit down and let Yah make us. Sometimes we got to sit down and pray before we do something. We got to sit down and let Yah strip us of the nonsense before we go forward and stuff. It's a making process. You can't just come in and just be like, oh, I got, you know, you get that new user, that new believer zeal, and you want to go do everything, but it's like, hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. Slow your roll, son. Slow your roll.
Slow your roll. Even when those of us that are mature, we want to go and we want to minister on every set and every scene. Hey, you ain't called to minister to everybody.
Right.
You not called them. Some people is not. No, you don't need to minister to her if you're a man, and that's not what Yah called you to do. You need to leave. If they don't need to minister to him, if you're a woman, that's not what Yah called you to do. You need to let that alone, because this is how the devil gets his way in.
I've been through that. Yep. And it's like, nope, nope. You cannot say. You have to be very, very careful, because you're going to open yourselves up to things that you didn't think that you could. You have to be you have to be extremely careful, because I went through it.
Yes, bro. Same. Went through I literally have been through one of those situations. I used to think people were dumb when they would be like, "Oh, I don't know how I got there," and I'm like, "Man, you know how you got there. You know how it is." You know, being all judgmental because I'm thinking I'm super Christian. You know what I'm saying, super high and mighty. But then, boom, I go through the situation. Boom, fall into sexual sin with nonsense. And then after the whole situation was done, I'm looking at it like, how did I even get there? This person wasn't somebody I was even attracted to.
Right.
This person wasn't even somebody that was my type. It was nothing that it was literally an assignment from the enemy. That's all it was. And if you sitting here walking in haughtiness, or we talk about how these things come out, because guess what? You ain't got to come tell everybody. You know how some people overshare with testimonies. I remember being in the church one time. Yeah. Man, I remember being in the church one time, man. And this old lady gave a testimony, bro. And she was just going too far. I mean, she just stood out there and just kept going. She's like, "Oh, yeah, I used to just be known all around the town. Ooh. Oh, I used to just sleep with other people's husbands like it wasn't nothing." I mean, she's just going down the list, and I'm like, ma'am,
please.
We get it. you ain't got to go all that. You ain't got to overshare like that. That's the kind of thing you share with your accountability partners and your prayer partners with those folks. But you don't bring that out to everybody. You know what I'm saying? There's not everything that you share out. I'm saying that now because I'm going to actually open up the floor, have some, for y'all, let some of, y'all in the chat come up, give your thoughts on the matter, because this is something that's affecting us as a people. We went through this as a whole people because, again, slavery left more marks on us than just the, coon mindset and, people out here hating on their own race. You got folks out here, man. TCA, man, shout out again to my boy TCA. He showed that video, that Uncle Tom video he showed, man. That jumped in my mind because I can see the programming from that. How they had a place, a farm, essentially, with young Hebrew boys where the slave masters could come in there and spend their price and get whatever they want and do whatever they want to do. Had just a bunch of Hebrew boys in there naked, but guess what? They had on earrings and they had on chains and they had on all this stuff, all the same stuff that we rock with now that we think is all, oh, my chain, having a chain to a Hebrew is like, oh, I gotta have my chain, gotta get my Cuban links, you know what I'm saying? Gotta have all that. The boys had on Cuban links.
Yeah, and like I said, we got entertainers like what was his name, Lil Nas X or something like that. Sir. Yeah, who out there who's promoting that very image, and because of that, he is extremely popular. Putting on like I said, I was scrolling down my news feed and I saw a picture. I'm like, I thought, who's that? That's it. That's not a mini skirt. I'm like, okay, I'm done, and keep it moving. But it was like. It's almost inconceivable to me. It's like, how can we really be okay with this? Yes. With the feminization of Hebrew men? I don't care if it's like, well, they're transit. No. Chromosomes. XY, male, man, Hebrew man, not a female. Let's not play games. Why? We're accepting of this. We have been extremely accepting because we just want to accept everybody in love because how black people are excluded from everything, and so we want to be accepting of everybody from everybody. And it's like, no, no, this is wickedness. Yah says this is blasphemy. This is sin. There's no way to put it. It's not a mistake. This is sin. It is evil. It is damnable.
Facts. It's sin all the way through. I think the name of that movie, Rumaha, was Uncle Tom's. I think they said it was like Uncle Tom or something like that. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and see if he still has the video up. And he had mentioned the name of the video of what the movie was. But I wanted to definitely do that because I wanted to watch that movie to see that on there because some things, it's tough, but you got to watch it. Yeah. Some things are tough to see, but you have to see it because it happened. We don't want to watch it, but guess what? Some of us went through it, and some of us are still suffering to this day as a result because of it, because of those problems. There was a thing I remember. I'll give this testimony. I remember from a young age, I had images in my mind. I had these they were sexual images, and I did not know where they came from. Again, I'm too young to go to, you know, buy pornography or whatever. I'm like, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, you know what I mean? And I'm having these images in my mind. And then one day I'm just going through and I'm just doing some self-evaluation. I'm cleaning things out. And, you know, I was throwing pornography. I'm like, okay, y'all, I've been dealing with this pornography thing for too long. I'm going to throw this. I'm throwing it down. I'm stopped just falling into it easily. And I'm going to start fighting. And so I just went through, and it was a blessed deliverance. And I remember telling my mom about these images that I saw in my head. She broke down and started crying. And she said back before she got saved, her and my father were dubbing over a pornographic video because they, you know, that's what they did back in the day. You know, that's what unsaved folks do. And, you know, back when you had to do it with VHS, you know, we've been dating ourselves here, you know what I'm saying? We got to explain it for some of these young cats. It's like, VHS, what is that? Why didn't you just burn a copy, or why didn't you just download it? Like, nah, there wasn't no internet. There wasn't none of that.
Change the squirrels from the machine every once in a while. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so when you wanted to record another video, you had two VCR set up, and you recorded the other while one played, the other one recorded. So they were dubbing it over, and they forgot to turn the TV off. And my little 2-year-old behind walked in there and watched it. And so my mom freaked out when she saw it. Of course, they stopped, you know, after that, she wasn't about it no more because of what happened and stuff. But she broke down crying and was asking me for forgiveness because she knew that it was crazy how I was still, of all the things I saw when I was 2 years old, why is it that image alone to this day, I can still recall those images?
Man, let me tell you, if I can, again, and to share a little bit of my testimony of stuff that affected me up until this day when the enemy would try to come at me with that nonsense. I had a friend of mine who was 6 years older than I was. He was literally my best friend. He's the one also introduced me to like some martial arts. Well, his father had passed away some years before, and his father, of course, like you said, VCR, but he had the magazines. So my friend, who at the time was 15, got a hold of those magazines. And of course, being his best friend, who did he share those magazines with? Me. I think I was a 9 or 10-year-old child, seeing things that I obviously could not understand. My 10-year-old brain was not processing the images that were there and the scenes that were in that thing, in that magazine. But what it did was affect how I understood or saw sex and sexual relationships and so forth. Because again, there was some it was all perverted, but there was, I'll say, even more perverted things in there that I saw, and it affected me even up to adulthood. Even though I had not seen or touched a pornographic magazine since forever, I was still a child or early teen, something like that. But they say like, oh, you saw it as a kid. It still affects you decades later. So don't let anybody ever say something like that. Well, it's harmless. Little boys learn from this and that. No. What it does is corrupt little boys and girls from seeing sex and intimacy in a healthy way from how Yah designed it. It will destroy it, and they will end up seeking things like they saw in those magazines. And when Yah forbid they get into a relationship like that, it absolutely destroys them. Even they get delivered, they are scarred. Because I still got scars.
Don't nobody just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I'm gonna go into a swinger party and hang out." Don't nobody just wake up one day and be like, well, maybe nowadays because it's just pushed out there like that. Don't nobody just wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm just gonna go hang out at the strip club. It's always usually somebody's small introductions that take you up there. I remember when I turned 18, I had homeboys telling me, oh yeah, why don't you go to the strip club? I'm like, no. Like, but at least back then, y'all kept that in my head that he kept me away from that because drop my mic, my bad. Sorry about that, y'all, for the loud thump. Mic count fell down. I'm always was thinking like, man, so I'm gonna walk in this place. I'm going to give this lady all of my money who I'm looking at naked, along with all these other men. So I'm walking in here with a group of men, all of us looking at the same woman, having the same thoughts, the same, lust and perversion towards this woman. I'm gonna give her all my money. and I'm gonna walk out with less money and them same perverted, bent up, that bent up pressure. I'll put it like that.
Yes.
I'm walking out like that. I'm walking out with Papa Smurf and Brainy Smurf hanging out in my pants as I walk out. Like that's I never understood that. I never understood that. But people go into that, and that becomes a stronghold. It becomes a stronghold. And the funny thing, I'm gonna say this one thing too, because this one, shout out to Rumaha. We was all, just chatting one night, and we talked about strippers, and she was like, "Where did that even come from?" And I was like, "That's a good idea. I didn't think about that." And it turned out that there was a story about Aphrodite who went down into, wasn't she going down into the underworld, and she was dropping clothes as she went down, further down. She was dropping clothes off of herself, and she did it on a pole. This was a story from the Greek mythology with Aphrodite. And then now you have stripper. Now they have you trying to have kids learn pole dancing like it's regular. They try to teach it like it's normal. Oh, it's just exercise. It's regular. It's normal. It's healthy for kids. And then you get Brews that'll get caught up in it because they're like, "Oh, you're being too super spiritual." No, bro. You see that this junk was tied into Greek mythology. It's tied into all of that stuff. And plus, why would you want something that's associated with that lust for your young girl?
Exactly. And I remember, I just one thing real quick before we got people come on. When you talk about anime, and we talk about, like I say again, how these images are even the things that we see as children that are not necessarily pornographic, but it still has innuendos.
Yes,
that can still be there. I'm reminded of an anime used to come on in Chicago. It's called Transor Z. Back in the mid '80s, and there was a female robot like Transor Z that was there to fight. Her name was, interesting enough, Aphrodite.
Wow.
Her name, I think it was Aphrodite A. Her missiles, well, you can use your medics to see she had missiles, and they were her chest.
What? They literally did that?
Yes, that was the missile. She fired missiles. It was her breast.
Wow.
It was, and it's like at the kid. Now as a teenage kid, I'm he a kid, like a kid. But I never thought about, like, wait a minute. Why would you have this as a kid's cartoon? I mean, it was Japanese, but the fact of the matter is that I'm like, you're using a body part as a weapon. Very interesting.
Man, that is a very, and this is especially for, those of y'all that may have like younger kids out there. Just know that, when I was growing up, me liking anime, I was the weirdo, the outlier of the bunch. Is like, oh, he's black and likes anime. What is that? But now it is the opposite. It is crazy. It's like now, if you don't watch anime, you are a weirdo, and you have to be careful if you're letting your kids watch these anime. If you're watching them, you have to be very, very careful, because a lot of these things, they let's just say Asian women aren't known for large busts. So it seems like the anime guys compensate for this by every other anime. You have at least one or two female characters. There's always got to be one. Yes, with just, this ridiculously huge, large, oversized bust. Which makes no sense because they're usually warriors. And I'm like, you can't fight with those things out in front of you, but go off.
Right. Like Ronnie X said, yeah, Sailor Moon. I used to watch back in the day. It's like, this was cool, but there was a lot of sexual innuendo, even in that. It was a kid's cartoon.
Yes, sir. Oh, yes, sir. In the Japanese version, there's actually full. See, in Japan, it's a different thing culturally. They show nudity on TV. It's nothing. They'll show like, on certain times of the day, they'll have certain shows, and they'll show like, new, like even when Sailor Moon changes, she's naked. It's implied. It.
Yes.
The whole transformation process that goes through, what I'm saying? It's implied. You already know that she's naked. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff that it's subtle. And that's where, most people are like, oh, you're tripping. Oh, you're reading too much into it. But when you become accustomed to looking at lust, it don't bother you no more. You get used to it. you be ready. You be, you know, it's like, oh, this is just normal. This is regular. But when you really got to get to that point where you say, hey, I don't want to do this no more. I'm not trying to have these thoughts consume my mind no more. You got to just go, man. You got to go scorched earth.
Yeah, you got to. It's extremely subtle. And so I had because before we talked about, coming on, me coming on here, I was thinking about like, how does the enemy use even small thing, what you would think is small things to get to you. And I remember there was a story. If somebody in the chat could correct me if I'm wrong here. I want to say this was an actual historical event where there was a holdout fortress that was in the middle of I think it was a lake, and the Roman army was basically coming against it. But these people were like, we're on a little island here. You can't touch us. You can't do anything to us. And what ended up happening was the Romans went and started breaking off little rocks and stuff and throwing them into the lake. Over time, they put enough rocks in the lake to build a road right to that island, and they were able to destroy that place. The enemy does the same thing. We might not be looking at pornography per se, but it's those small, quick little things. It's like those little stones that get thrown into the lake that eventually you keep watching them over time. Over time, they build up. Next, the enemy has a roll right into you.
Facts. And it'll be real subtle things. Like she didn't mention story. She said Yoni Stones. For women, a lot of times they'll be like, "Oh, well, I don't watch that," but you'll be watching certain shows and you'll see, like, Tyler Perry likes always in every single one of his shows. There's always got to be some shirtless, oiled up, super muscular dude that's just there for eye candy. You know what I'm saying? It's like always in every single one of his things, he always got a half naked dude. Now I know mainly that's for his persuasion because he played for that side of the team. I don't care what nobody say. But also, for women, even with that, because you'll be sitting back just looking and just be watching, and then all of a sudden here come this little studly behind dude, looking all like a whole a Samson with his hair locked up, all dreaded and then muscled down, and be like, look at him. Yeah, see that right there. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's how it goes. That part right there.
Right, and that's it. That's why you said you got to be careful, and even other parts like with I say even the music we listen to. Like I say again, I say I'm not going to say I'm different. Like I said, I've heard things that over the years and say. Growing up, just out, in parts of Chicago and mostly outside Chicago. I mean, just like 10 minutes outside, downtown. I'm a house head. For those who come from the Midwest Chicago, who know Chicago house, we know how we get down house and the beats over there. The techno house, deep house, ass house, all that. But there was music and things in those songs that again, when you dance to it, you listen to it, you're like, hey, that beat's cold, it's good. But then you actually, when the Lord wakes you up and you begin to actually listen to what they're saying, it becomes depressing. I said there was a song, as you talked about, there was a song called Caught Up in One Night Love Affairs. That was one of the biggest house cuts that got put into mixes. But she's saying, I'm a fairy tale princess in search of a knight, looking for, said, I'm caught up in one night love affairs, said, hoping true love will find me there. And she's talking about that tomorrow you'll get up and be on your way, forget everything you say tonight. In other words, she's going home with the person, they doing what they're doing, knowing that he's going to get up, forget all the little nothings he said into her ear so he can do what he want to do, and then he's gone. And the woman is heartbroken. And she's listening to this, but we listen to it like, "Hey, this is a cut, it's a jam." But it's like, this is a cry for help.
It's deeper than just lyrics in the song. Correct. That's another, man. I used to be like, I wasn't raised allowed to listen to certain songs. When I got old enough to, I was like, oh, I can listen to them now. I can listen to some of them. So first I was like just listening to everything. Then I'm like, okay, this is trash. I can't listen to these dudes talking about killing other people if I'm against, the police shooting my people. I'm not going to sit here and listen to Lil Wayne and 50 Cent and Plies and all these other dudes talking about shooting our own people. That makes no sense. So I'm not gonna do that. So I put all the shoot 'em up gangster rap away. But I still listen to a few little things here and there. And it's just like you said. There was I like house and techno too. And there was a techno song called Masquerade back in the day. They used to play it a lot down here.
I remember that.
Yeah, man, there's a radio station down here, man. They played it all day, every day. That was like every day on the Friday. They used to have a thing called the Friday Night Bomb, and every day on the Friday night, that was like the one song I was guaranteed to hear. And it was the pretty much it went. Do you want to be lovers tonight while the mood is right? Keep up this masquerade. Do you want to go home with me? I can guarantee it'll be your fantasy. Now, mind you, that's just a little part that she say, but then the rest of the song is the boom, the beat going and stuff like that. So you just saying like, yeah, it is that bop. But then when you listen to what she's saying, it's like then you wonder how many people in the club listening to this song went home with somebody that they regretted years later.
Yeah, exactly. They'd be like, yeah, I remember that. And that's why I don't post even the music stuff that it may not have affected me. Again, as a kid, I wasn't running around like that. But for people who may have been older than me or who were living that life when a certain song come out from the house and they was with somebody who obviously wasn't their spouse, but they were, teenagers or whatever, I don't want to be responsible for bringing those memories back up to them.
Facts. Come on, man. That is facts. That is absolute facts. Because there's some songs I remember. This was back in the day, I made music and stuff. I was making beats and everything, and we would go to the studio locally around here to record. And the dude used to always try to get me to, make beats and, give him beats to sell. And, he wanted to work together and make beats and stuff. And I always had this conviction because I'm like, I did not want to make a song where I have to go on YouTube later. Because I went on YouTube. I forget what it was, a Boys II Men song. I think I think it was either "I'll Make Love to You" or one of them, one of them songs, one of the love songs, like everybody like to say, like, we got the love songs back in the day. What kind of love? what kind of love songs were they really singing about? Because underneath the YouTube video for all the comments for this song, all I saw were a bunch of women saying, I lost my virginity to this. I lost my virginity to this. Oh, this brings back memories. Lost my virginity to this. Lost my virginity to this. And I'm like, that is so wicked. Because what people don't understand is them men going to have to make an account before Yah for every soul that went into sin as a result of them getting rich off of that song. Yeah, people don't take this junk serious. Like you have to take into account for what you do. If you out here leading and lying to women and trying to, there's dudes out here that be trying to teach other men how to get with women, but what they're really doing is just teaching them how to manipulate broken women. Yeah, how to manipulate a broken woman. When a woman, you don't have to be nice to her, be rude and be like this. Man, the first time I was rude to a woman, I'm like, oh, she's never gonna call me back. Because she had honestly just gotten to the point where I'm like, you know what? I don't care if I see this woman again. She's getting on my nerves. She's crazy. So I was very rude to her. She called me the next day. I was baffled. I'm like, this, and I just saw how demonic that was. And I'm like, I felt sorry for her. I didn't just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna use it to my advantage. No. I saw the brokenness and the fact that she was okay with me being this rude to her. I mean, I was very rude to her. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it so many. I've had women come to me and tell me, when I was single, I don't feel like I deserve a good man like you. Because they're so broken, and dudes is out here teaching other dudes how to manipulate broken women. That's not game. You don't have game. That's manipulation. That's witchcraft. Because it's easy to manipulate a broken woman. It's easy to manipulate a broken man. That's demonic, though. That is people think witchcraft is just cutting off chicken heads and baking cakes for your little patron deities and beating the little demonic drums that they give you. Witchcraft is also manipulation. That's witchcraft. Man,
that's okay. You said something. I can give you an example of, again, what it looks like, again, from the media, from our media, from the blaxploitation films from back in the day, when back in the early 70s, like I say again, I was a toddler, so I didn't see this stuff until way later. But there was a show, a movie that people quote now, that you'd be like, oh man, bring it back, because the music and stuff was cool, it was a good soundtrack. Came out in 73. It was a movie called The Mac, where this dude, where the main character was a guy named Goldie, who came out of prison and decided that pimping was the life for him. And he would manipulate, again, broken women and talk about, I'll be your brother, I'll be your father, baby, just believe in me. This all, and with this cold song playing in the background, kids back then was like, man, that's what I'm talking about. I want to be like that. I want to be able to spit game like that to a woman so that, she can believe in me and I can do whatever I want. I want to put her on the corner. I can do that. This is how you do it. That's witchcraft. But
That's
people lift it up as something like, man, that's cold. That's manhood. No, it's not.
Yes. Oh,
it's cooning.
Go, brother. Go. Talk that talk, bro. That's pure facts. And, because look at the people that they threw in front of us in the 70s. Again, this is how they do it. They know that we're underrepresented. They use this is why I encourage Hebrews to understand. Unfortunately, a lot of psychology is European psychology, but sometimes read some of the things that they're talking about. Understand the human mindset. Understand what makes you tick. Look into some psychology things. So even though things may not interest you sometimes, read about it and be learned about it. Because see, it may not interest you, but it's a weapon being used against you. And the more knowledge that you have economics, the more knowledge that you have about psychology, the more knowledge that you have in all these different things, the less the weapons that they can use against you. That's my little shameless plug for education. Go learn some stuff. You don't got to go to college and learn it. You got the education right here on your computer. It's like I tell my son, I tell everybody else, stop using the computer to look at pornography and use it for other good stuff.
Educate yourself.
You know what I'm saying? I tell everybody that. I said, stop using the computer for pornography and use it to educate yourself. You can go find anything that you want, but you always want to, people always going to use this. They'll go and they send me Instagram pages of I had to tell some dudes to stop. I'm like, I know we cool, bro, but I don't see that. I don't want to watch that. My Instagram, I had to purge my Instagram because I used to like cosplayers. Because like you say, we don't see ourselves in it. So we put ourselves in other situations with other people. But before I get on the cosplay thing, I'm going to talk about what you were just saying about the pimps and stuff. Because look at blaxploitation. Who were our heroes in the 70s?
Right. First, we, say, hey, Shaft. It's like, yeah, it's good. But let's be honest. Why'd you name him that? Gee, let's think why you named it that.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Even in the movie with Samuel L. Jackson, because I was like, again, because that was, man, I used to love blaxploitation films. That was my thing, because I got tired of seeing films where, if the black man was in it, he was going to die. Or he was just goofy, I like The Fifth Element. It's a movie I like. But every time I see Chris Tucker now, I'll be like, man. And it just annoys me, you know what I'm saying? Seeing that, and it's like, you get to see a blaxploitation. It's like, man, Dolomite was trash, but it was just hilarious to see a black man do kung fu on white cops.
Yeah, exactly. We saw that. We saw how can I forget his name? Superfly, 1972.
Man, yes. Oh man.
Yeah, Pretty all these people, driving the cars, but they were anti-heroes. But since we was going through, especially during the time of we were still in the Black Power movement in the early 70s, movies like this in our minds, because again, with the the psychological scarring that we've endured for centuries, to see somebody game the system, but game the system by exploiting their own.
Right. That's it right there. Because we had hustlers come up, but who were they hustling?
Right.
You had the pimps coming out, but who were the women that they were taking advantage of? And I remember as a kid, it was, man, y'all kept me, because as a kid I was fascinated with pimps. I was fascinated by I don't know why. It was something that was truly demonic that Satan was trying to plant a seed for, but y'all came in and nipped that sucker in the bud, man. I give all glory to the Most High, because it ain't me. That's why I tell people, aside from y'all, I would be terrible human being. I would be a horrible human being. And I remember watching Pimps Up, Hoes Down, and it made me sad watching this, because I'm sitting here watching these women just again, broken, messed up women that's looking for love, and they finding it in this dude that's basically just using them to get money. And then some of them was out there getting killed, and the dude was sitting there talking about, some of his women that died. So there was a serial killer out on the loose that was killing prostitutes, and he lost one of his women to the serial killer. And you can even see it on his face. He still to this day felt like trash. He felt bad because of that woman was out there. He even said it, man. I get, at least he owned up to it and didn't make excuses. I'll give him that, because he was like, she was out there because of me. She was out there because I told her to. I was responsible for that. And I'm like,
right,
man.
But yeah, but the evil, like I said again, the evil of those movies, again, had us thinking one way, about some things, and it's like, again, it was the idea of like, now you have power.
Come on, man.
And you have power by exploiting and hurting others. So when actually, that's why I won't watch those now, because it's like, it actually hurts me. Yeah. It hurts the heart when I say, he's hurting these women. These women are hurting. They don't need somebody to, manipulate them. They need healing from y'all. And that's what, as men, that's what we have to be, especially women who are hurting. It's like, no, point them to the one who heals. Don't point them to you. Point them to the one who heals. Problem is, a lot of dudes, again, if they're not close to y'all, not, walking in the ruach, all of a sudden they become, I'll be this for you. I'll be that for you. And next thing you know, problems. Say, you push them away from not towards them.
Correct. And it's you can tell that they purposely did this, because when you read I saw on Netflix which I do not recommend watching, because I was like, oh Lord, why did I watch this show afterwards? But there was a story about Dolomite on there. But one thing I found interesting is how he ended up finding his funding eventually, because some movies and stuff wouldn't have him, but eventually he came across this one white theater that let him play his movies, and then all of a sudden, boom. That's how everything blew up, when this one white theater just magically gave him the go-ahead and let him push his story out there. They will always let us push stories that will harm ourselves.
Yeah.
Because think of how many people went and watched Dolomite in the theaters, because, it was the first time you seeing a brother coming back and winning. He didn't die in the end. He didn't go out like no little punk or nothing like that. So this was something that they had us looking up to, and then they saw a market. And then I've been seeing everybody listen to all the videos. Like they say, clear Foxy Brown. Foxy Brown was another one. Look at how they portray into women. You got Foxy Brown with Pam Grier in there. Like, can't even really watch the movie because, in every Pam Grier movie, she got to get naked. Yeah, why is it that she can't make a movie and be just a good actress? Why she got to get naked in all these movies?
Right, and that's why I said by the time I knew about those particular movies that you were talking about, I think I was already a believer by that time, and so I was like, no, I have never seen that movie. It's like, even when it comes on regular TV, like on Bounce or something like that, I won't watch it, because it's like, they'll block the party. No. The human mind, I can fill in what they fuzz out. Okay. If I get, so it's like, no, that's not gonna help. But exactly. Pam Grier, very famous, literally, say not for her acting abilities, but literally just for her body.
That's it. And she's not a bad actress either, because she did the one movie with Quentin Tarantino. I think it was Coffee Brown, where she actually kept her clothes on, and it was good. It was decent. It was a decent movie, and she has good acting skills, but they weren't interested in her acting skills. So almost every movie that she was in, and there was a bunch of other prolific Black women actresses that were out back then as well, and almost every single one of them had to get naked.
Right, except for one. Somebody did mention Cleopatra Jones. I don't think there was any scenes like that, because she was a superhero, but again, I think there were still aspects of it where there was innuendo.
It was innuendo.
Things like that. Let's say again, remember I said earlier about those little pebbles that get thrown into the water. Just keep watching over and over. Next thing you know, the bridge has been built right to you, and the enemy got you.
But see, it's not even just in movies, though. They get us in every single area. Because, like, we were talking about, they have already the roots that's in from slavery. And then, every family have that one cousin that they told not to go around, or that one uncle that they're not allowed to be. Women have that one uncle that you're not allowed to be with by yourself. That after you come over from the house, your mom used to ask you a bunch of questions.
I've
heard to ask you a bunch of questions. Oh man, that was real. That junk was real.
I've heard about it.
I'll give another person testimony. It happened to me, but it was with a female. She was our babysitter. and she was the goddaughter of my mom and dad. So, you know, family, again, you know, people we know, hung out with. My mom used to always be across the street because they stayed across the street from us. Used to always be over there, you know what I'm saying? They were like well known. And this was, I think this was again, before my mom and dad got saved. They would go, you know, hang out. And so they would have her come and babysit. And when she came to babysit one night, you know, she's pulling up her shirt and showing me inappropriate things that a little young 5-year-old boy, 5'4", yeah, I'm like 5-6 years old, should not have been seeing. Showing me, you know, showing me things and doing things that you shouldn't do with a young boy. And then in our messed up society, they'll tell men and be like, oh, that's fine. That's good. This is what should happen. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, when you have, man, down here in Florida, it's like every other month, it's another female teacher touching on little boys. Another little female teacher, and then they're like, oh, the boys are stupid. I wouldn't have said nothing. Oh, that's crazy. They're dumb. They shouldn't have said nothing. They sitting here like making excuses for abuse. Right. That's abuse. That's nothing manly about that. That is abuse. That is screwing up that boy's look and outlook on women, and that pushes you more towards pornography, more towards the stuff that we talking about. A lot of them dudes that we pimped out here with pimps and stuff like that, there's a reason why they walked into that. A lot of these dudes that be playing women, that be like, you know, they can't have one woman, they just, you know, cheat on women left and right. A lot of them don't have good relationships with their mother. They always talk about the absentee father, but we don't talk about how the effects of a mother and a father even has on your sexual appetites and what you deal with, your relationships with the people that you deal with. This just goes deeper than that and all of that. And people just be going on like every day, like it's normal and it's regular, and they hide it under the rug and don't want to talk about it, but be suffering from all the symptoms of this disease that's in their spiritual bloodstream.
Right, exactly. It's okay because we don't. So again, we don't focus on that. How, because we know obviously our young, girls and women get touched by these nasty men. Some of them be family members like that. It also happens to little boys.
Yes.
And we say we don't focus on it because, like you said, guys be like, "Hey man, that's cool, man. Let's go. All the woman got on you. Yeah, it's cool, man." Yeah, and it's like, no, there's nothing cool about a 12-year-old being touched by a grown woman.
Nothing
like that, because it will twist them up. And people say, "Oh no, they'd be fine. They used to be got they sowing their wild oats early." And it's like, no, a lot of with psychological issues later on could become abusive to women because of what's happened to them as children. Especially if they were if they were sexually exploited, that could push them also into a homosexual lifestyle because of the anguish of not knowing how to process what was done to them, and they try to get away from it. They'd be like, "I don't like women because they hurt me. I'm gonna go here with the guy."
Oh, come on, bro. Come on, man. That's the one they don't want to talk about. A lot of dudes will straight up start playing for the other team and will go straight to the LGBT community because they have issues with women. Like I've known gay dudes that like the thought of a woman's body literally disgusts them.
Yeah.
Like, there was dudes that I talked to because, again, I like talking to people because I like seeing things from other people's perspectives. So, I talk to people a lot, and I'll just, I'll sit down and I had conversations with the dude, and he was like, man, the thought of a woman's body was like, just like, nah. He was like, he wasn't in it. They was like ill. And I've seen it even, more even through social media. You see a lot of them talking like that, and a lot of that stems from, just like you say, the hurt from a woman. Because everybody always, it's always been the universal thing that says that, oh, if your daughter ends up on a stripper pole, you failed as a father.
Yeah.
It's always been on the father, which I'm not taking that away. It definitely is. Men play a major role, but women do also. It takes two.
Yes, absolutely.
It takes two. One is not less than the other. One is not greater than the other. It takes two.
Correct. Yes, sir, man. And again, like I said, brother, I appreciate you even bringing these things out, because a lot of us, like you said, we keep that in the dark. We call that family talk. That's like, shh. Don't talk about to say, no. Look. Okay, I know your uncle did it, but let's keep that here in the family. Let's not put our business out there in the streets. It's like, no. That's what empowers that person who did that evil thing to continue to do it, possibly to the next generation. You got to put this out there. If something, as I said, I would always tell, someone came to me and say, I heard about, this happened to me when I was little and things like that. It's like, is that person still alive? Yeah, they need to be confronted.
Absolutely.
Bring that out there. Put them out there. I say, no. I say, well, that's their uncle. I don't care. That person has done wicked things. They need to be called to account and repent.
That's it. And that's why I told the story with how my mom came in. I think Talisha had said it earlier that, oh, your mom apologized. Absolutely. She apologized. I even told her the thing, even with the babysitter and stuff too, man, she was just boohoo crying. And she was like, I had no idea. She apologized profusely to me. And I didn't know nothing against her. I don't hold nothing against my mom and dad for that. They was in sin. They were doing just a sin. We all was born into this nonsense. They didn't know better. They didn't know no better. You know exactly. What I'm saying? I don't hold nothing against them for it. It wasn't on them. It was, again, a sin that was born in our community. This is something that's been ingrained in us because we already had sexual sin. Because, a lot of brews like to say, oh, this just came from slavery and whatnot. No. See, when they was out there, see, this is the parts that you got to understand when you start understanding the worship of these other deities that they was worshiping. When Moses came down off the mountain, the calf represents Ishtar. Ishtar was like a cow. She had the cow horns with the moon disc in her for her head garment. And that was a lust demon. So the women wasn't dancing around that thing with clothes on, y'all. They used to have, when a lot of these different temples that they was erecting and they were building, they had temple prostitutes where they would go into the temple, and it was a part of the worship of these deities where you would have sex with the temple prostitutes in the temple. It was like an offering. They weren't considered prostitutes. They were considered priestess and priests of the temple for them. And this is the services that they offered. We know this is true too, because there's a Sumerian relief that I don't want to pull it up. I ain't gonna pull that thing up. It's not terrible, but I just don't want to pull that up because
right, exactly.
Just talking about enough. I already got the lust spirits in the air mad and stuff. But there's a Sumerian relief. It was used for they said it was a seal, but I don't think it was a seal. But it's like, oh, these are two priests that are bowing down to a deity. And now it was like this giant, you could tell the deity was big. It was a giant deity because the priests were drawn smaller. But one priest was bent down in front of the other priest, and the other priest wasn't bent down in the bowing position. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, I don't think they worship.
Yeah. It was perversion.
That's perversion. They ain't worshiping. It was perversion. And just like y'all says, just as it was in the days of Noah, there's nothing new under the sun. It's the same thing going on today. These things, this is how they want us to be in this the way to watch. So that's what our old ancestors was into, man. This is what these deities wanted. They want you to pervert yourself. They want you to get yourself based because of this. Because Yah tells us. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at Romans 1 like rumor hog. I'm gonna look that up too.
I brought it up. I'm like, hey, let's look at that.
yeah. I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, I had this one right before we gonna go to that one. 1 Corinthians 6:15-20. Know ye not that your bodies are members of Christ? Shall I then take the members of Yahusha and make them members of a harlot? God forbid. What? Know ye not that which is joined to a harlot is one body? For two, saith he, shall be one flesh. But he that is joined unto the Lord is one spirit. Flee fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, or the Ruach HaKodesh, which is in you, which ye have of Yah, and ye are not your own, for ye are bought with a price. Therefore, glorify Yah in your body and in your spirit, which are Yah's. See, when you really, these are the scriptures that help me. That, when I'm going through, when I'm like, I think about stuff like this, especially now knowing who we are as a people, knowing that Yah called us to be that kingdom of priests for his people. And if we're called to be, look at how he had, see, the Old Testament, with people that are unlearned, like to read the Old Testament and act like it just negates the New Testament, but they don't understand that the books all work together. Yah was showing through an overt example what we needed to be doing in a spiritual example when he had them going on in the temple and whatnot. And the priests had to be purified. The priests had to be they couldn't just be on nothing. Aaron's sons came before Yah and they got drunk before they came in. Now, drunkenness, ain't gonna get you messed up, but if you're gonna go before Yah, you best not be drunk. You best be sober.
Yes.
You better come. You don't bring that before Yah. And they came up in his house drunk, and boom, he struck him down in front of everybody. So they had to see that, hey, this is what it is. You can't come to Yah any kind of way. Even what's his name? Was it? No, it's not Achan. Ah, man, I forget the dude's name that put his hand out to stop the cart when it was falling. When David was bringing it back into the to the kingdom. I forget the dude. Uzziah.
Who's Uzziah?
Uzziah. Yeah. He again, no bad intentions. He reaching his hand out to stop the ark from falling, but boom, he got judged because Yah doesn't play when it comes to sin. He don't play. We only can come in now because of the grace of Yahusha. So that's why I take some side note here. That's why I take special offense when folks want to sit here and discredit Yahusha and discredit the sacrifice that he made when he didn't. Man, he came down. Y'all sent himself down in the flesh and died for us when we didn't even deserve it. And y'all want to discredit that? Y'all going somewhere, bro, with that nonsense. Because look at this nonsense that we in. By y'all's right, all of us should be dead, drop dead for judgment.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't be wrong.
Right. Exactly.
He would not be wrong. Because we see how holy he is. Even in the Old Testament, they used to put bells on the high priest when he went into the Holy of Holies to do the worship, to bring the fire out. Because if the bell stopped moving, if he had any type of sin in him, they used to read scriptures to the high priest the night before, so he would be ready and up and ready to go. Because if he went in there and he had anything going, boom, he got judged. And they used to have the rope around him. They had to just pull him out. Pull him out of the Holy of Holies, because not everybody could come into Yah's presence like that. And if you came into Yah's presence sideways,
that's it.
That's it.
It was a wrap.
We too caught up in this system. We let America decide our morals instead of letting Yah decide our morals.
Right, and itself has no, and America has no morals to begin with. So I'm just keeping it real, except for whatever if God is in its belly, and both shall be what? Destroyed.
Come on, man. You got the here, I'll pull it up. What was it? Romans 1:26.
Yep, I got it. Yep, I got it right here. Hope y'all don't mind, but only thing I had close to me was my was an NIV. So but coming out of NIV, it says, this is Romans 1:26-27. Because of this, God gave them over to shameful lust. Even their women exchanged natural relations for unnatural ones. In the same way, the men also abandoned natural relations with women and were inflamed with lust for one another. Men committed indecent acts with other men and received in themselves due penalty for their perversion.
Come on, man. That's on point. Appreciate that, Romaha. Appreciate that.
Yeah,
that's on point. I'm gonna put the link out there. Have cats come up and talk about some things and stuff. Like I said, we being real. We talking about it, but let's not be vulgar.
Right.
And no, we don't want to have any cuss words and whatnot in this, because I want this to be visible to children. I want you to show your kids this too, because this is important. Like everybody's been saying, this is important. I'm so thankful that it's edifying, because I wanted this. That was my goal. I wanted to edify y'all's people, because I know I'm not the only one dealing with this. I know I'm not the only. That's so weird how all that stuff just fell in my house. Get out of here. That is
here we go.
The weirdest thing, how all that just fell. Yo, that is so weird. Wow, that is so weird. It just fell off. I had like a bunch of CDs stacked up on the shelf, and it just fell over randomly. That's so weird. Wow. Anyway, ain't nobody mad but the Satan, man. Ain't nobody mad but the devil, because this is true. This is the absolute truth of the matter, and people need to really recognize that this is something that Satan has been doing for years in secret. And it's been going on in secret, and everybody's been keeping it secret because they don't want to come out and tell the truth, because, it's a stigma on it. Like there's something wrong. Look, if you've been abused, or even if you was, because, the abused people abuse other people. So even if you've been an abuser and you've repented and turned from those ways and stuff, don't let Hasatan keep you in that bondage. Because that is the goal of all these fallen angels. They are accusers. All they want to do is accuse. But Yahusha knew all our sins when he went to the cross and put it under his blood. He knew about all of this before he died. Y'all knew about this even before he put Adam into the garden. Did he not tell Samuel that I knew you before I placed you in your mother's belly? How not more so for us? How not more so for us? Don't let this become a stronghold that makes you think that you're less than or you're not worthy. Use it to overcome it. Use it to break out of it. These are some great scriptures that have come forth for this, and I'm gonna put the let me put this.
Yeah. Bro, sister's knitting more. She wanted to if you could read that passage Romans again. Can you read that one more time for her, please?
Yeah, I can read it in which one? Romans what? 126?
Yep.
Actually, I think I have it open. Actually, yeah, I do have it open right now. 126. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affections, for even their woman did change the natural use of that which is against nature. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust towards one another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was meet. And even as they did not like to retain Yah in their knowledge, Yah gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whispers, backbiters, haters of Yah, despiteful, proud boasters, inventors of evil things, and disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Yah, they which commit such things are worthy of death. Not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. I read the rest of it.
Amen. Hallelujah. Yes, man, that's facts again, because that's exactly what we are seeing now. We're thinking this stuff with men and men, women and women is all new. No, it's going way back to the beginning. It's going all the way back there. We're just seeing a modern manifestation of it.
Right. That's it. That dude. That's man. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new to what's going on in this earth realm. And this scripture right here is just so on point, man. Appreciate that, Rumaha, because that's it. That's it. Perfect right there. They burned in their lust. And I like how they came with this one and mentioned both men and women, because that's what we see, man. There's so many, especially down here where I'm at, man. You see so many women out here, they trying to be harder than you. I'm like, bro, come on, man. You're not. I've seen them be out here getting into fights with dudes because they thinking they a dude. But it's funny because as soon as the fight start, then they remember they're a woman again. But it's like right. But you see this being pushed heavy. I mean, I think they made Iceman in the comic books. He turned Alphabet. Superman's son is now Alphabet. Robin is I think Dick Grayson. They made him Alphabet. So it's like they going after kids, bro. Like who's looking and reading all these things, and not all the grown folks. Most of the grown folks is gonna read the older comics and stuff. But all the new comics now is pushing this stuff in their narrative. Right. Everything, every TV show, especially if it's a show. What was that? I forget the girl's name from that movie, The Harder They Fall. What was the one that she was like that too? She was Alphabet.
That is Stagecoach Mary.
Was it Stagecoach Mary?
Women. I'm trying to think because
they kind of they tried to imply Stagecoach Mary was a little.
But she looked nothing like that actress.
No, the other girl, the other one.
Willie. So I can't remember. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, right. She was androgynous.
Correct. For lack of a better term. The actual person that she was based on wasn't built like that. She didn't do all that. She had kids, if I remember correctly. I remember looking up all the people that they talked about, because I knew about Bass Reeves, but I'd look up some of the other people that they were talking about, and I'm like, this woman's backstory don't match nothing what they put in the movie. Why is it that they always got to do this? The new Cinderella movie. Look at the fairy god brother was just that.
Yeah. I heard about that. Yeah, I'm not interested. I said they did. They say we talked about in comics earlier. Supergirl, they did that. I think Arrow did that. I think the Flash did that. They had to have a character who was Alphabet. It's literally, it's almost like if they don't do it, they're gonna get basically social media backlash for not doing so, which is gonna affect their bottom line when we come down to it. Comes down to the money. It's like that lobby is gonna go, hey, you're not representing us in your show, and if they go like, well, we don't really need to do this. Okay, so you're against us then. All right. Order 66 lets everybody go against this movie, tell that the movies or the movie or the TV show is trash, and therefore make sure that their money goes out the drain, down the drain. So they end up doing all this. So they end up having these multiple representations. Even one of my favorite shows, pretty show called Doctor Who.
Oh,
They put that a character in there who was lesbian. I'm like,
yep.
okay, there's literally there's almost nothing we can do to even change that, except obviously pray and just say, you know something, we're just gonna not watch these things and not have to worry about being entertained. It's like, leave it alone.
Yeah, didn't they even try to imply that the doctor? Because I know they replaced the doctor with Jodie Whittaker, the female doctor. Didn't they try to imply that she was that way too?
No, they kind of again. It was more of because remember, for those in the chat who don't know what we're talking about, there's a British show about called Doctor Who, which is about an alien who's what's called, they call them Time Lords that go, they can go back and forth in times in a vehicle called the TARDIS. I've been watching it since I was 5 years old, 5 6 years old. Their race is basically they can regenerate, but their sex could also change when they regenerate. So yeah, so they kind of basically saying they're almost androgynous in a way, because they could be male for hundreds of years, regenerate, and then they're a female, and then but you never see them in a relationship with any type of romantic relationship with anybody. It's almost avoided, but it's still that implication of going back and forth.
That's it. That's it. That's it. And it's see, we got to be wise. Like, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, y'all just tripping. Oh, y'all looking too much. Oh, that's on you." I remember that used to be the story back in the day in the church where the women would say, "Oh, no, just don't look then. That's on you. That's in your mind. I dress like this for myself. I dress like this for me. Don't look. Don't look."
Okay.
Like, what? You can dress in a way. Now, I know that, our women are blessed in a lot of areas. And even if you wear yourself, you can walk outside dressed, in a burqa, like you was over, in the Islam country, what I'm saying, with your hijab and that, was it hijab or whatever, the whole nine, the hijab, the whole nine. And you will still get hit on. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's just the nature of how things go. But there's no reason, like, you can't tell me that you feel more comfortable with all your biddies just hanging out like that. Like, how is that? Like, when I walk outside with shorter than shorts on, when I go to take the garbage out, I feel some type of way.
Right. Years ago at my old church, the first lady who like I said, love to this very day. One day I distinctly remember after service, she asked the women to stay behind. Especially the young ones say, say, man, y'all go ahead and leave. Service is over. Say, could y'all please stay? And ask the men to close the sanctuary doors. She let those women have it. She was like, there are married men in this place. You don't have to come in here showing, try and be cute, show all your business. Because believe me, there were times when I say that going to service, when you have somebody who, if they sneeze wrong, it's over and everything could be seen. It was like that. And so it made it difficult to even try to worship with your eyes closed, because it's not right in front of you, it's right there. And it's like, wait a minute. I understand sometimes I say, well, we don't have a clothes. Say, no, you don't have to dress like you're going to the club. That's not necessary. And brothers, okay, you work out, you got your pump on, okay, there. You don't need to be showing like, yeah, I got these muscles, I got my short pants. Like, no, brothers, say, yeah, okay, you work out, that's cool and everything. You don't have to advertise your business. Say, why are you here then? What are you actually looking for? You looking for Yah, or are you looking to get hooked up with somebody up in here?
Come on, man.
What are you trying to do? Just be real.
I call that the Eddie Long.
Exactly. Boom.
I call that the Eddie Long, because I remember Eddie Long when he was chubby. He wore all, nice regular, he was just dressed, nice regular stuff. Man, as soon as he got on Instagram and he started doing all that weightlifting, I followed him on Instagram back in the day, what I'm saying, before I knew he was nutso and stuff, just following and seeing what he got talking about. Man, this man used to be taking pictures in front of the mirror with his little white t-shirt on, flexing.
Like, why would you do that? That's vanity.
Come on, man. He be up there in church with the tightest tightest of shirts that he could find and be just sitting there, you know, running around. You know how dudes do when they take them certain poses, they start, you know, putting their chest out. And I'm like, bro, you can talk without doing all that, bro. You don't got to posture like that while you talking, dog. Like, we see you working out, my guy. Like, I get it. Okay, congratulations, my nigga. You in shape. But come on, bro. We know what you doing, man. But, you know, in his case, he wasn't going after the young girls, though.
Yeah. I'm like, to say, how do you know, because, you know, the one thing we got to think about with all these things is like, how am I loving my neighbor? How do you love your neighbor? Do you love your neighbor by causing them to stumble? And that's what I said. When I put in the chat after, because I was thinking about it, and it was just like, man, Mike, what people was watching this and it made them think some kind of thing. And it's like, I wasn't thinking about that. That's why I apologize. Like, if I brought up evil thoughts or memories from those shows I mentioned, say, I apologize. I was not thinking. But again, it's about loving my neighbor. How am I making sure that they don't stumble?
Correct. I think in this case, it's actually good that it would bring up those memories. It's good. A lot of people probably should be, you know, having things pop into their head and having stuff come to their mind right now. That's because deliverance is in the house for this nonsense. Deliverance is here for all of that. So when the devil is about to come out, it's like I always like this example of the cornered animal. Whenever an animal is cornered, you have you'll even have a rabbit. The most docile of animals just go crazy. And they're going to just, you know, because they're like, man, I ain't got nothing else to do. I'm about to be taken out, man. This is my last thing. I'm going to do whatever I can. So they're going to just go nuts. And that's when the animal is at its most dangerous, is when they're scared and cornered. Because then they feel like, oh, fight or flight got to kick in. I got to do whatever I can. That's the same thing with these unholy spirits that's hanging around. These fallen spirits from the fallen watchers. They're children that y'all said will run around in the earth as demon spirits. These things are real. They are very real. If you're ever just sitting down, again, it comes up in the most benign of cases. You'll be sitting down, you'll be minding your business. I know for a fact that, you know, I've made a point to not look towards women, especially if I feel like, you know, a lot of them be dressing all fancy and they want to see who checking them out. Because a lot of times it's not that they want to just, you know, they want to get with you. They just want to get their little, you know, they just want to get thirst points. That's what I call them. They little thirst points. They're going to dress for the, you know, dress a certain way. So all the thirsty men will go looking at them and they can feel like, oh, I get my cookies off of this. Yeah, look at me. People want to look at me. Oh, look at how many likes I get. And they use that as a currency for their self-worth because they have very little self-worth.
Well,
aside from what their body has, they don't think that they offer anything. And I'm not saying this to be mean towards women. I'm saying this because I've had very beautiful women come and tell me that they don't feel like they were worthy of being with me because I'm too good of a man for them. What in the world would make you feel like a good man is not good for you? And these same women that have told me this, they post thirst traps. It's like this is the new current in social media now, and now it's so much worse because back then, even with the you know, back when the time when technology was low in during mankind, I'm not going to say it was always low because at one point technology was high, then it came low, and now we're not even high technology now. But again, that's a podcast for another day. But you know, back then, you know, it was in the 70s and the 50s. You can see more naked men and women now than anybody could back in the 50s and 60s. They could just literally, they throw them at you. I have to yell at Facebook all the time because it puts ads on the side. A lot of times I don't even go on Facebook because of that. Because I'll be on there and they'll just randomly throw lingerie ads on the side of my thing. I don't look for lingerie. I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for that. Why are you throwing that at me? And then they'll throw some other like yoga type thing, but it's some half-dressed woman in a very interesting pose. And I'm like, why are you advertising this to me, Facebook? Why are you sending this to my way?
Right. It's like why the nonsense? I do not want. I say I am in no groups that have anything like this. I don't have any friends who dressing on my Facebook account who doing this. Why are you showing this to me?
Exactly, dude. Come on, man. Come on, man. You can come on up, Kalisha. You good? I like this from rumor. Our thirst coins like Bitcoins. You would think the way that these folks be out here mining for it, man. I had to purge, man. Look, social media sometimes just go on a break, get off of it. And if you got stuff on there, man, I had to purge, and I still purge. I just had to purge somebody off of my YouTube things, a channel I used to follow, and the dude posts mods for a particular game. Was it Fallout? Well, Skyrim. And those who know about video games, Skyrim has more mods than a little bit. Like, you know, the aftermarket community, the community built that game up to what it is more so than the developers. But of course, being that, you know, it's community mods, some people make mods with sexual connotations. So they'll change all the models in the game to look like these ungainly, crazy, you know, ultra sexualized models that they see on TV. And for like the last, I guess, month, that's all this dude has been showing on there. I'm like, bro, no, I'm not. I saw a thumbnail and I'm like, what is that? Why is this showing up in my timeline? I unfollowed him. I don't care. I don't, you know, my mind's like, oh, but what if he makes another good video that you saw a little while ago? I don't care. I don't care. None of that matters anymore, because the only thing that matters is being right before Yah. That's all that matters, is being right before Yah. Let's see here. I'm gonna go here and look at what's y'all going on in the chat, man. But yeah, I got the link up there, posted up there for everybody. Did I mute you, Arrow? Did I mute you? Oh no, you muted yourself. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I muted you. Yeah, you can come on up. You know, if you got anything you want to talk about, anything you want to say and bring forward, man. Because like I said, this is something that it goes on in the community and it don't get talked about. It's one of those things that everybody like to, like, you know, sweep it under the rug and they want to not talk about it. But man, here, just like we getting delivered from the colonial mindset, we're also getting delivered from this lust and perversion. And God's letting this come up so we can see it and recognize it and get rid of it. And stop walking in it. Because see, a lot of us have normalized this in our mind. A lot of them tell you, so many people tell you, oh, as long as I look, it's okay. Just looking is fine. Looking is okay. You know, look is. I've heard, you know, believers, he's like, well, I didn't do nothing. I didn't go touch nothing. I didn't go do it. I've even heard believers tell me, well, you know, if you masturbate with nothing in your mind, if you don't think about porn,
no such thing.
Then that'll work.
No such thing. What in the name of lion fantasy?
I'm like, how does that even work?
It's like, Yah was very clear. If you look up on a woman to lust after her in your heart, you've committed adultery with her already. And that also goes for women too. So again, that argument will go right out the window with that. There was a band I listened to back in the day, one of the Christian bands I used to listen to, and one of the songs was called one of the lyrics was, the battle that starts in the mind, a lesson to be learned. Provoking thoughts are the cause of sin, but provoking thoughts are earned. Cast down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. That's the song lyrics. And it's like, hey, the battle starts in the mind, but where's it come from? That's why Yeshua talked about, be careful what goes through your eyes. Say, if your eyes are full of darkness, how great is that darkness? That's what he's talking about. What are you looking at? What is causing you to basically be disobedient even in your mind before your body does a thing?
That's it. That's exactly it. This is, you know, and it's just like the example that you gave. It's like these tiny stones, because that's how it starts. It starts off little and little. Even, you know, even in the pornographic taste, you know, it's like, oh, first I was looking at this, and you know, I'm looking at just little soft core stuff, or you know, at first the Skinamax shows is enough. You know, when you're when you're a little younger and you can't get access to all the hardcore stuff, so you see the little Skinamax, the little nighttime stuff. I didn't know. I found out by working in a cable company. I worked at a local cable company in my area that, you know, at the time they didn't have super hardcore pornography on their cable station. So there's actually ratings in pornography. It's X, double X, and triple X. It's just not just triple X. Like triple X is like, you know, all the way live, everything. Double X is they don't show certain things, and X is basically what you see on Showtime and all that crap at night. So there's even levels to it, even in there. And people would literally call up at night. I used to work at night. I worked like from 10 at night to like 1 in the morning. So I would get all the weirdos calling in, and they would be mad that the videos weren't showing any and everything. They were mad about it. They would be like, oh, well, how come it doesn't show this? And how come it doesn't show that? And I'm like, sorry, sir, that's just how it is. But folks was just so caught up in this mess that they was like mad that this junk wasn't perverted enough for them. Talisha, I want to put you in, but you don't have a mic connected. It's not detecting that you have a mic, so it won't let me add you in. So you have to either, I don't know if you're doing it from your phone or your browser, you got to give it permission to use your mic and get your mic set up, and then it'll let me put you in. But right now it's saying device not connected, so I can't add you in. Man, Ivan Lamar right here. Marine Kingdom is in full effect, man. People don't understand that a lot of these lustful spirits are associated with, water spirits that are associated with the water. Again, that's another huge build right there in and of itself. Hold on, right here. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, y'all, brothers. How y'all doing? Shalom.
Doing well.
Good, that's good. I wanted to, you just let me know when I can.
Go ahead.
Okay, but you're actually Brother Karras and Shonda at Large. Brother Karras sent me over to your channel, and I've been kind of binge watching you the past couple of days. So I enjoy your content, and you're definitely on point. But the topic that we're talking about, I think it's something that we all really need to, especially in our community, we need to discuss this. Because it's just this, my sons tell me I'm not about that life, but it's just thought nation. And I'm speaking for the women. It's just a thought nation that's out there. And we don't leave anything to be, desired. I was out today and I'm just looking and I'm like, oh my God. Now I'm just going to say this to you, back in the day, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. So, I was into trying to be fly and trying to be, all of that in a bag of chips, but I'm, more mature now and I'm wiser and I have more discernment. But I was like, oh my goodness, did I used to dress like that? There's nothing to be desired. Every nook and cranny. And for y'all men, it's just like, I don't know how you guys are, just kind of just staying focused. I guess you just have to look straight ahead and don't look to the left and don't look to the right. Because it is just so ridiculousness, if that's a real word. And as it relates to like pornography, I'm my awakening happened about 3 years ago. And I was listening to a sermon from the late Pastor Stephen Darby on pornography. But he said, back in the day, you used to have to go somewhere to sin. Now it's right in your hand. So it's right there at your fingertips. You don't have to go anywhere. And it has people on lock. And I look at pornography and all of this stuff as a means for those of us who are not going to go out there and blatantly commit sin. He said, guess what? As as far as Israel back in the day, what? We can get them to sin against themselves. And so it's just so much trickery out here. I think for folks who are single and don't have a mate, you need to guard your eye and your ear gates. I'm very specific about what I watch, what I read, what I listen to, like even certain music. You cannot listen to certain music. Back in the day, when you start, dancing to them oldies and some of those songs, it will bring up, a spirit of lust. Mm-hmm. And this is no joke. That spirit, it will bring up a spirit of lust. You might, even the OJ, some songs will just bring certain spirits up. And so we have to guard our eye gates, even those who are married, the same thing. But more so, I think for those of us who are single, we must continue to stay in the word, not to say you can't have fun, and just, be a human being, but we really, because there's so much sexuality, there's so much of it, you know what I mean? And to the Hebrew women, doesn't mean that you gotta, just walk around, with 10, shawls on, but, leave something to be desired. But definitely we can't be on those, you don't be up there on the internet, because we know this web, is Satan's playground. So don't be up there on Plenty of Fish and all of these single ministries and the Christian mingle. Stay your butt up off of them things. If you have no self-control, keep your eyes, off of the internet, off of those dating websites and those apps and them mingles and tingles and tindles and what else, swiping to the left and swiping to the right. Just stay focused on what it is. So I just wanted to add my little piece, to it, to what you guys are speaking of.
That's Amen. On point. That's on point.
Yes, it is. Like I said again, I would never. I never a proponent of somebody say, okay, all women have to dress like say in burqas and just be covered with nothing but the eyes. No, because that don't help. So it's like that doesn't work. I said for me, I said where I work for a university. I've been home since early last year. When I used to work on campus, I used to hate having to go out to do anything because I work in IT. When I had to walk around, fixing computers, because a lot of the women, literally, especially when it was hot, as soon as it got hot outside, the clothes came off. Now it was that fast. It's like winter, they got the Uggs and stuff all covered up. As soon as it's 70 degrees, boom, everything gone. And it's like you walking straight ahead, and right in front of you, all the glory is there. And it's like you can't avoid it. So I was like, I hate going out here. So I praise y'all for what I do in IT now. I ain't got to go nowhere. So I'm like, I'm right here all the time. But still, I exactly, sis. I don't know. Somebody said, no, where did the modesty go? Because again, people think.
But brothers, we are not being taught. We're looking at the Kardashians, and we're looking at this reality.
Thank you.
The movie is teaching us that modesty is beautiful. The man doesn't know. Now, when he was talking about, I was laughing at your last upload. You was talking about the fake hair, the fake butts, the fake this. Be in your all natural. So the man can know who you are. Don't just be like that movie. What was that movie? He was popping off the legs, and she was popping off.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Popping out the hair. It's like there is no authenticity, but there's no modesty. And actually, the old mothers of the back in the day. My grandmother was a grandmother, so she was like, "Oh no!" On my channel, I talk about back in the day, we couldn't wear a dress above our knees. We wore slips. We were modest. We had grandmothers teaching us that, but the grandmothers of today are out there twerking with their daughters. So there's nobody teaching these young women that it's okay not to show all of your body. That's not something that we shouldn't do. You know what I mean? That is for your mate, for your spouse. There's no one teaching us this, teaching women this. So they don't know. They're just doing what they see. And so reality TV was a real propaganda setup, especially for the Hebrew woman, to set up to sin against ourselves and to go out here and to do all type of stuff that we ain't got no business doing, like getting injections in our behinds when we had behinds from day one.
Come on.
Okay?
Well,
no reason for us to go and do this stuff. Who told us that our hair wasn't beautiful? Who told us we weren't beautiful? So we're just continuing to look to that propaganda machine. That's why I don't watch TV. I recommend anybody who's making a transition, who is trying to live a righteous, holy life, you cannot watch certain things. You just can't do it. You gotta turn. Don't get me wrong. I used to watch the Real Housewives of everything. The Atlanta, this one, that one. I used to watch them all. Okay. And where was my life? Where was my mind? I was caught up, tied up, bound by spirits. Man, I had to leave it all alone. You got to go on a detox, literally detox yourself from everything. And it's like, once you come into this awakening, everything you learn is just, you are broken down and you have to relearn everything. You got to learn how to relearn how to dress. You got to learn how to talk. Leave Babylon stuff with Babylon. Leave that mess alone, because it is just in your destruction. And don't get me wrong, look, I used to be fly now. I'm from Brooklyn. I used to put on my stuff. I'm like, hey, you know what I'm saying? But now those fly days are over. I'm trying to gain my salvation. For the years that I've been on this earth, I'm like, yo, you know what? It ain't worth it. Kill that noise. And I'm going to focus on, my salvation, but also in helping others. Because to be honest with you, some of these women out here are more aggressive than the men now. Yes. They are so aggressive. They will do things that women just should not do at any given moment, at any given time. And they're making it seem like it's okay. Now, I know Pastor Darby did a segment on on, he said, I'm going to kill your thought process about oral sex. They make this thing like this is, everybody got their, I mean, it's just disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting. And I, you know, for y'all brothers trying to find wives, it's just like, I don't know what to tell y'all. It's like, I was in the store today, like looking at, and it's almost like I said, oh my God, I hope this woman don't think I'm staring at her for a particular reason. But she had these long nails on. Everything was pierced up. It's almost like you could look at pictures of Babylon back then, and it ain't nothing new under the sun. Noses all pierced, all tatted up. Remember when tattoos used to be for men who were in the military or men who had just went to jail, and everybody is tatted up. Now, I mean, you may have some tattoos, but you know, you pray over it and then you repent and you move on, you know, but everybody got a sleeve, but they use that NBA, aka the Nephilim Basketball Association. They started putting them tattoos on them brothers, and that's how our brothers started being enticed to go and start getting them sleeves and going to start getting them tattoos, because there was a time when that wasn't popular. Nobody had no money for no tattoos.
No, man, Hebrews didn't have tattoos like that. Like that used to be a thing that, you know, was mainly for like Europeans and stuff. And like you said, if a dude went to jail or if he was in the military or whatever, and that's how all of that was. And it was so funny that you mentioned the Kardashians and the TV and all the influences. That's why I pulled this up from when I went on with Ebri and them. This is Cardi B right here, all the way to the left. This is Miss Kardashian right here, all the way to the right. And in the middle, what we have here are old carvings on Indian temples from ancient Indian women. And look at their shapes. Look at how their bodies are shaped in that. Now, I can tell you 100%, a natural woman ain't built like that. Natural women don't have giant chests like that sit up perfect like that. That's not natural. That's not real. I'm just gonna be real and just tell it 100. If they don't sit perfect like that, especially after they've had children and whatnot. And we can even tell from in the book of Jasher, it talks about how they used to make women drink a drought. They used to make women drink a drought to not have kids because they didn't like their body after the kids. What do you see going on now? If they take, oh, she got stretch marks. Oh, that's dirty. Oh, she got this, all this, that. So now you got sisters going out getting all this work done to look like these women. And what you don't see is they not looking. This is nothing new. These deities from back in the day, these are all old ancient deities, and they shape the exact same way. The broad hips, the circular, big, round, sit, perfect chest, all of that stuff matches up. This is not something that just came up. This ain't just something that people is just doing. People just be doing stuff, and they think that, oh, it's just regular. Oh, you looking too much into it. No. This is something that has existed before. We know that the Egyptians used to do surgery back in the day. Am I right, Mike? Am I right, Mike?
They did.
They did surgery back in the day.
I'm a nurse, right? And it behooves me that, you know, women are literally dying. Our women are dying at an astronomical rate, getting injections put inside of their bodies and dying of septic shock. And when you look at the history of, you know, see, my awakening was real crazy, y'all, because I was a part of a system that I didn't even know that was just off the chain, which is the medical industrial complex. I had no clue, you know, I thought I was helping people. But when you go back, okay, you got Kardashians up there, you know where she's from, you know where she originates from. If you've done your research on these folks, they know who they are, okay? Besides them being high-level witches, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. You know where these people come from. These folks come Armenian. Go look up. They Armenian. Yeah, we know. Come on. So anyway, but I had to really kind of look at this whole medical complex, because our women are going out there getting injections and getting breast implants and doing all type of crazy nonsense. And when you look at that, it's all enmeshed with this transhumanism, this trans thing with the breast implants and all of this stuff. And I'm trying to tell women, like, look, y'all, don't go and get nothing done to your body, because on those implants, see, I know a little bit something different in the medical side that a lot of people don't know about. On the implants, there's serial numbers. They're not only tracking you by your phone, yo, they tracking you by them implants. Stop getting them things put in your body. This is something ain't nobody gonna tell you. Though there's things on those, every implant has a unique serial number to that implant. So they know who got that implant and the name of that person. What better way to track by your breast implants that you got in your body? Get out of here, y'all. I know what I'm talking about, okay? A lot of stuff I don't talk about because it's like it takes you down a deep rabbit hole. And when you in the know of something, but I'm trying to tell my sisters, even for my brothers, I told them, stop buying new clothes. Stop buying these new clothes, these new Jordans, these new sneakers, because they have GPS tracking in them. They're tracking us anyway, y'all. They know who we are. They know every Hebrew. I'm going to say this. And it's not about being targeted. It's not about anything. When you are born, every child, they do a test and they prick your feet and they tell you that you're being checked for PKU, fetal ketonuria, to make sure that you don't have any type of metabolic, no. They're doing your DNA, okay? So they know every one of us. They know who we are, where we are, and what we do. Don't get it twisted, okay? We all got a caseworker. What you think the social security number is, man? Like what she's saying is not crazy. People are like, what you think a social security number is? 30 years. I know what I'm talking about. Because
there was a system that came out.
They take a little pink prick from the baby's foot. Now, they might be checking for some things, but they put it in their database that they done had to say who is who. They know who we are. And I said this to my son all the time. And they be like, Mom, what are you talking about? I'm like, they know, they've been, well, this is my Ebonics. They've been knew who we were. So what makes you think if they've taken crafty counsel and they've all consulted with each other, you don't think they know where we are and what we do? Get out of here. Those cell phone towers up there, they're for a reason. And I think my thought process, my awakening is that those cell phone towers, they know we getting up out of here eventually. So they track us all like that, okay? And I'm not just saying even with our cell phones, I'm saying a specific group of people. I'm not paranoid about it because I'm like, look, I know who my father is. I know where my salvation lies. So y'all can track us all you want to. That ain't going to stop him from coming with the judgment. Okay, it ain't gonna stop none of that. And if we are getting up out of here, it ain't gonna stop that either. So y'all can trust us, y'all can do whatever y'all want, but it ain't gonna change the reality that we are the people of the book. Okay, we have awoken, okay, and it ain't gonna change the timeline and the trajectory. But the bottom line is, I'm trying to tell folks, don't be so quick to keep buying all the new things. The new cell phones, the new clothes, because they're tracking you that way. If you leave yourself, okay, so say for instance, they said, well, okay, if they're tracking you, don't take your cell phone with you. But if they got GPS tracking in your clothes, they can track you. So my point of the matter is we got to be wise in everything we do. Wise in what we eat, wise in what we watching, wise in what we reading, but also in our choice of clothing and what we're doing. We're set apart people. We're set apart, so we should not look like nobody walking down the street. Like my son said, he's like, Mom, every woman looks the same. He said, they got hair. He said, they got on this Brazilian hair, and why are you putting on hair that's been cursed, that's been sacrificed to idols?
Talk that talk.
To your head that's been sacrificed to idols. You don't even know where it might have come up a dead body, somebody who's a priest, and you're going to attach it to your head? Get out of here.
Now see, again, everything that she is saying is on point because the hair comes from temples in India. In India, they have a I forget the ceremony is, but there's a way that women will let their hair grow and then they come into the temple and they cut their hair. It's a part of a ceremony there. So then they used to throw it away, but then they saw a market in it, so they started collecting the hair and making wigs and making weave, and that's where the human hair comes from. A lot of it comes from those Indian temples where they cut off all their hair and they bring them into these factories where they push them out in wigs and they push them out in weaves. And sisters be out here just getting all that stuff and putting it in their hair, and it's sacrificed to idols. And it's sacrificed to spirits, which also adds on to a lot of the sexual sins that's going on, because those things that I showed, that picture, that came from India. Those that, again, we talked about earlier, the yoni, all of that stuff, these things are sexual sins. And we see them, it's just like Brother Aerospike was saying. It was like the little pebbles is just building up. You got this hair on you. That's how that spirit can come around you. Because the demon's like, I have access to that hair. That hair was a sacrifice to me. I have access to it.
Absolutely. And another thing that's making these young ladies so I guess I could use the word thirsty, but so sexual, they're doing these yoni stones. Now, I don't know if you remember, there was an episode of The Real Housewives of Atlanta where one of them young girls, one of the dark-skinned girl up there, she was using the yoni stones. Those things are sacrifice. That you go and do the research on that. You shouldn't be doing no type of steaming and all of this other stuff, because you're literally just infusing into your vaginal area some sort of spirit. It's like we just do stuff and we don't know the origin of a thing. We gotta stop doing things when we don't even know where it comes from. So that's why some of these women are so sexual, because they go online and be like, oh, let me go get a steaming. Well, if you keep your stuff clean, you ain't got to be going and get it steamed up. That ain't nothing that our women do. I mean, it just doesn't even make good sense. But when I tell you everything, a lot of stuff that our women are doing, they don't know. They're just like here, I'm in Atlanta, right? Every time I drive down the street, so I'm driving, everybody and their grandmama got they're AKA, they're better capital.
Oh, you finna make some people mad now. Oh, you finna make them mad now.
Everybody, I don't care. Because look, we to the point, yo, we can't be concerned about what people think about what we're gonna say. Because I don't want no blood on my hands. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Did the frugal nurse, did Monique, did she teach? Did she say what I want? I don't want him saying to me, you know what, if I deny him, he's gonna deny me.
Come on,
I don't give a flip what them people think. Everybody is an AKA, they are this, they are that. And I'm like, yo, when did everybody pledge to one of these daggone demon gods? What's going on with that? Ain't no way in the world you're gonna tell me that everybody, when I tell you everybody and their grandmother got a tag of 1911, 1910. Yep. I'm like, y'all done pledged to Minerva, this one. They don't even know what they're doing. Yo, my grandfather was a free. No, how I can speak on this? Because this was in my bloodline, and I had to repent, rebuke, denounce those demons in my family. My grandfather was a Freemason, yo, right? And I remember one day I wanted to become a Eastern Star. Right, the lady at my job, and I thought it was all about charity and help. And I'm a nurse, so I'm like, oh, I can join this. I didn't know nothing about nothing. Green as could be. You know what my grandfather said, and I thank him to this day. God rest his dead. Right? He said to me, "You can't serve two masters." He said that. He said it, and I didn't even know what that meant. He was dropping down there. He was like, "Nah, granddaughter, you can't serve two masters." He was telling me straight up front. How many people do that? Right. He was a Mason. So, but he was a Mason that was a brew. Because we from Edisto. My grandparents are from South Carolina. So we was brought over straight on that port, Edisto Island, down south, both sides of my grandparents, right? But then he became a Freemason. That was the thing to do at the time. You know what I'm saying? But
and it's just like what Cam just said, what the Kojic got it bad, and it's to show how all these spirits is even as related, because in them Kojic churches is where you always find the zesty choir director. You always find the church pastor that want to go creeping along with all the little ladies and stuff like that. Like, it's in them Kojic churches is where most of the nonsense was coming from, and they were all the former AKAs. They were all the former what's the other big one? I forget the other one with the dudes, where they be putting their little hands out to the side like a snake. I forget what that.
Omega Sci-Fi.
Yes.
That.
Omegas. Oh man, like what Uncle Ruckus said, they be jumping around with candy canes. I'm from nigga 5 nigga. That's really what it is. It's like, oh, y'all y'all just running around doing all this stuff, and you pledging for this stuff because your mama did it and your daddy did it, and because people telling you to do it, but it ain't really about the empowerment of everybody else. I knew a brother that didn't get a job. He was fully qualified, and the person offering the job was a whole Hebrew, and he said, "Oh man, it's too bad you didn't pledge Kappa, because if you did, then we could have did this and we could have did that." It's like, what that got to do with my skills? What that got to do with that? All this mess comes in because all that stuff come with. Because what goes down in those Greek organizations? Everybody know them Greek parties is where all the freak stuff go down. All them frat houses was where all the foolery went down. That's why some folks didn't finish school, because they had to come home and raise their little baby.
Yeah. Well,
they had to come home because they were pregnant. They left, but they came back not with a degree, but with a mini me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All that stuff is tied into that. You see churches where they have these Freemason symbols on their walls and stuff. Then you wonder why sexual sin is so prevalent, because this is all satanic worship. All this stuff comes from Satan. All of it. And all of it leads into that. Lust will lead you into all of that. Like, what people don't talk about is masturbation and lust will lead you into, you have anger spirit. Anger is tied into masturbation and all of that stuff. When people be having all these other problems.
Right. I want to say something else. Let's talk about how the propaganda machine and, I've got to go back to RHOA, Real Housewives of Atlanta. There was another young lady up there, and I admired her at one point in time. But she has a line of sex toys. So
wait, is it Hebrew?
Like that's okay. So what do you do with sex toys? You masturbate, right? So no, this is not good, yo. And then she has a line of business where she has like consultants that go out across the US. Nah, sister, that ain't what we need to be getting into. That is not something that we need to even delve in. Kill that noise. Leave that alone. Don't even watch them shows. Don't even deal with it, because it's going to send you down to a path of straight debauchery and destruction. And when you look at these females, I look at them, they could be, and I told guys, she might be cute in the face, snatched in the waist, body is banging, but she the devil themselves. I'm telling y'all. So don't just look at that package and, she look like she cute and she look like she this. Those be the ones those be the agents that be sent straight, because just like Pastor Darby said, and I believe it, everybody is sent. They either sent from the Most High or they sent from Satan. So don't get it twisted. If there's somebody knocking on your door, you better ask, well, who sent you? Who sent you? You know what I'm saying? Because they're a lot of people don't understand that we're in a spiritual battle. Okay, and this is a there's a physical realm and a spiritual realm, and there's some straight demons that are not even human walking on this earth, yo. And so if we don't understand that we are up against a lot, but one of the things that Satan is really truly using, especially with the Hebrew women, is for us to sin against our bodies, but also to be out here sexually sinning. And it's huge. And women don't have no coof. We don't have no class. We don't have nothing about ourselves anymore. We're not chaste. We just more debauched than the men. But I owe that to the Meg Thee Stallions, the Cardi B's with the tongue out. All of this nasty. You straight up and down nasty, yo. That's what it is. I'm not even gonna say nothing different. You nasty. But they're not talking about when I'm looking at your chart and you got all type of a plethora. I like that word plethora, y'all. You got a plethora of STDs that can't get got rid of. Here, you know what I'm saying? So we need to look a little bit deeper, because all that glitters ain't gold. And that's true. Even I was telling somebody, and this is for Pastor Darby, about the baby hairs. You got the guy, his muscles is glistening, and he got his baby hairs laid down. Leave that alone. Why everybody got baby hairs now? I thought baby hairs was for babies, not for grown, daggone women. Everybody, they got a fake wig on with glue down to their head. You gonna get brain cancer? What's gonna happen? It just don't make no sense. But what it shows me, brother, is that Satan is working OT. He's working overtime. So if he don't get you here, he gonna get you here. If he don't get you there, he gonna get you here. So you gotta stay in the word. That's why he said, pray incessantly and read that book, because that's gonna fill you with the Holy Spirit. And that's the only way we're gonna make it, y'all. We ain't gonna make it if we look into the left or the right. We gotta stay focused on his word, because I'm telling you, these demons, these devils, they're out here. And those of us who are chosen, there's some of us who awoken after a great deal of trauma and a great deal of going through pain, and because they knew who we were. So they had their eye on us from day one, as soon as we came out the womb. So there's some of us who have been under a great deal of pressure and stress from the time we came out the womb, because Satan was right there. We gonna get her, we gonna get him, stay on them. And it took a long time for me to wake up, because I believed everything I read. I like I said, I'm a nurse. So I'm a registered nurse. So I thought everything that was in the books is so. Heck to the no. You have to literally rebuild your whole mind. That said, transform your mind. That's what the Most High was talking about. You have to literally transform everything you learn, throw it away, because it ain't true. Ain't nothing I learned really true. But I thank you guys for letting me on today. I'm just passionate about this. But sisters and brothers, stay off the internet, stay off of Plenty of Fish and Black Planet and even the Christian man, off of that. Because there's nothing but sociopaths, narcissists, there's nothing but crazy lunatics out there that is seeking to devour you and send you down some road where you can never recover. Look, y'all, we ain't got no time. The time right now, we can't recover. So if we make a mistake, yes, we can repent, but Satan is going for your life, yo. He's going for your throat. He's keeping his neck on our throat. So what we need to do is we need to know, look, if I mess up, I might not be able to recover. So I just need to look. If you're hot, get in the shower. If you go read a book. Go listen to go over Deuteronomy. Go back to Deuteronomy 28. Go look at the curses. That'll keep you right. That'll get you right.
Do some push-ups. Get in your word. Go for a walk and divert that energy somewhere else.
Do some something.
That's what you're gonna have to do. But I thank y'all for having me on tonight. I appreciate y'all.
No, we appreciate you, man. You came talking some straight up facts, man. As a matter of fact, as she was talking, I'm gonna show this, and then we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, because she was talking about how people just be doing stuff and don't question what they do. So first, I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna show this thing right here, so everybody know who that is. I had to find it. Took now, mind y'all, while she was sitting here talking, I was looking for a picture I could share that was appropriate, because most of her pictures is. But you see, number one, you see the snakes that she got on her hand, all the stuff that none of the stuff that she's wearing is by accident. But you see what she's doing. Now I see so many young women now doing this tongue thing. Everybody does this. Cardi B do it. Everybody out here just do it. Every time I see something, I do it. I do what I see. But let me tell you about where that come from. Let me tell you about where that come from. See, there was a story in Hinduism about Kali. So there was this one particular demon that was out here, and it was wilding out. And the demon was just, it had a special ability to actually, when you would cut it, it would make copies of itself. So when they would chop this demon up, every part that they chopped up became another copy of the demon. So they couldn't beat it, and they was getting whooped up. So they were like, man, how are we going to do this? So one of the demigods that was there said, oh, I'm going to call on Kali, and I'm going to get her to come help me out. So when Kali came, what it was the blood from the demon. The blood from the demon would spur other parts of the demon. So Kali came and licked her tongue out like this and licked up the whole demon and swallowed up the whole demon. But then after she did that, she went on a killing rampage. And so after she went on this killing rampage, they just wouldn't stop. So they went to Shiva, and they're like, oh, Lord Shiva, how is this happening? We need to stop her. So then he pretended to be a log, and she stepped on the log and then revealed herself to be Shiva. Now, in other cultures, if you step on somebody, that's why when George Bush was in that place and the dude threw the shoe at him, that's actually ultimate disrespect in a lot of those in Eastern countries, to have your shoe be put on somebody. When they took down Saddam's statue, they was beating it with shoes and stepping on it, because that's like an ultimate form of disrespect. So she realized she had disrespected him and then did the tongue gesture again. So again, folks out here doing stuff thinking, oh, I'm just out here being cute. I'm just out here being cute. Look at me, I'm just being cute. But look at what you look at the line that you're following. Look at what you going down. Look at this nonsense that you are walking in. This is the mess. This mess right here. That's, you think, oh, it's just look, oh, it's just why would you even do that? Why would you even walk around with your mouth? Oh, come on, we all know what that's insinuating. Why would you even walk around? That's so nasty and ungainly. And it's like what Miss Monique was saying is a lot of these young girls now. A young girl came up to my son. I remember, keep open relationships with your kids, everybody, and talk to them and keep having these conversations. Let them be comfortable. Let them not be scared to come to you with stuff. Let them be able to be comfortable to talk to you, because he's telling me about this girl at his school that was like she wanted him to be in a relationship with her and another boy. She was going to be the only girl, and she wanted to have 2 or 3 boyfriends, and she wanted him on her team. And she coming to him. Now, mind you, he's in high school. He's in high school now. Just got in high school. And this is already coming at him. He had women. It was in elementary school. A little girl came up to him and was like, "Oh, I want to be with you." And of course, because I've been talking to him and telling him, "Hey, right now your goal is just to go to school. You don't got to worry about all that." I said, "Bro, you can't. I buy your underwear. I buy all your stuff. What you gonna do for a woman? I buy all that for you. So what you got going on? So don't get caught up into all that." And he told the little girl that, because he was like, "No, I'm not ready for that. I'm not built for that right now. I'm not focusing on that." The little girl now, mind you, he's in elementary school. The little girl looks at him and goes, "Is it me?" What? When he told me, I'm like, because he didn't know, because he was a little baby. But me and my wife was looking like, "Yo, whose little fast behind little daughter is this? Whose little and this is the constant thing that's going on, because this is who they listening to. These parents, it annoys me when I see people on Facebook and they post pictures of them in their car listening to all this funky music and their baby is in the back seat. Listening to this mess. You letting this filth get pumped into your child where they know the lyrics to this filthy song before they even know the Bible. Come on, man. They don't even know their ABCs. They can't even read, but they know all the words to Bodak Yellow. Come on now, that ain't cute. It ain't cute to have your daughter out here dancing and shaking and all that nonsense. This is not cute. That's not how it's supposed to be. And people are just so busy just getting caught up in everything. That's why we did this, because this is not, these things are not normal. These are traps and snares that Satan has been using in our lives for far too long. It's time to call this nonsense out.
Right, brother. I want to piggyback and just say this. I'm going to do another build, because this is a trap to get the women. When you were talking before, I think your last live you did, or podcast, I think you were talking about Molech or Moloch. It's a trap to get the women to become so promiscuous that they have these babies that they end up terminating to continue on the child sacrificing. So it's a whole setup.
Yes, sir.
Situation. And so one of the things that I've been commissioned to do is to talk about it, because nobody wants to talk about, okay, well, after you done had your 2 seconds of thrill, you know what I'm saying, or your 2 minutes of thrill, well, what is the result? What is the end result of that? And the end result of you might not be going down a Bohemian Grove, okay, but when you put your feet up in them stirrups in that abortion clinic, okay, that means you are now on a becoming a sacrifice. You are now sacrificing, and I didn't know this, but I'm telling y'all, some of these nurses are witches. They are. Okay?
No, that's facts. I know some.
I know this, but I didn't know back then, because I was real green. I didn't know. I thought everybody was everybody. So the end result is this woman ending up terminating this pregnancy. And now you've sacrificed your womb, your body, your child to Molech. So this is the end result of what is happening starting with the music and the TV and everything. And don't get me wrong, y'all. I'm straight up and down from East New York, Brownsville, Brooklyn, hood all day long, every day. Used to listen to all the Jay-Z, the Biggie.
I can tell by your accent.
I'm not trying to sit here and act like I never used to listen to this type of stuff, but it comes a point in time like, yo, that was the catalyst that some of that stuff rocked us all to sleep, and we was being rocked to sleep like a real silent lullaby, and they were just killing us, with the music. And I was up there, jamming and going to the clubs and doing the thing with everybody else. But now we gotta wake up, yo. We ain't got no time, but I'm gonna be doing a build with the ladies. And we're going to be talking about this whole situation, because I really do think in order, before we even get up out of here, And before the Most High even comes to heal us, you know, it says, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves. And before he can do that, and I'm talking to the women, I can't talk to the men on this. Some men have a part in it, but we are the ones who say yes if we're going to them abortion clinics. Some of Judah, some of us Brews, we're going to have to repent and really go to the Most High before he can come and do a healing with us, because they're using the women, a lot of women, to continue on this foolishness. Yep. And so that's what I'm going to be talking to the women about. Nobody don't want to touch this, but guess what? We're going to touch it.
That's needed. That's very, very much so needed. You have your channel under your name?
I have my channel, First Homestead is one, and then I have the other one where I talk to the people about the Most High. It's called Mo's Inspiration Station. Mo's Inspiration Station.
All right. Yeah. Well, drop the link for that in there, because I would love to see the build for the women on that, because that's you know, we touched on women some, but I didn't want to go too deep into it because, again, you know, as a man, it's not my place. So I'm glad that you came on and addressed that. I really appreciate that you coming on and addressing that, because it needed a female perspective on there. Because when I grew up, the church was filled with women, and they was always concerned on us, the young men. So they had all the men's meetings and all the men's stuff, and I think the women just pretty much got left out by the wayside because they were just too busy trying to get the men back in the church. So all the men came back in the church, but unfortunately, all the women out here, just like you said, running around in the streets, just starting it up. And it's crazy out here. Man, for all y'all single brothers, man, be led by y'all, man, because it's wild out here right now. I truly feel for y'all. I appreciate you, Monique. Don P, man, what's good, brother?
What's good, nephew?
How you doing, sir?
Oh man, it's really funny. I saw you were on TCA's program earlier, and that got done, and I jumped over here. But it's war going on out there right now. It is war going. He had a witch jump on the program and try to create discord. So now they're on a live, they're on a StreamYard right now, dealing with that. And it's just crazy, man. So that's just one thing that the enemy is trying to use, is disunity, and also trying to use disunity amongst us, between our various different genders within us. And that's where, see, that plan has been afoot since we stepped foot on this place. But by demasculating men and emasculating women, and so that they see the men as weak. So now here we are today. They had another plan that started about 60 years ago, after civil rights, that they were going to accelerate that stuff. They were going to be teaching it in the schools, and then you were going to see the result of it. And so now what we're seeing today is we're seeing the fruit of the seeds that they planted. The other seeds that they planted is, we're going to eliminate, we're going to use their own law against them. And what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate them as a race, and we're going to create a whole nother race of people. So that's why they're so heavily promoting this swirl thing, because it accomplishes two things. One, it keeps us from observing the law in several different ways. One of them being involved with the Gentiles, with the nations. We're not supposed to be doing that. The other thing is, like I said, eliminating us as a people, exterminating us as a people, and then also keeping us under the wrath of Yahuwah. I'm gonna tell you, man, when I was out there ripping and running, you know, the word says that the things that you used to be proud of, you're gonna regret. Those things you're gonna get, It just always, yeah, man.
Nah, man, that's facts, brother. But man, what you just said right there was true facts. Because I was thinking, when I was thinking about the build earlier today, I was thinking about how all this started in the 70s and the 80s, how the seeds of this was planted with the flower power and the free love movement, and the, make love, not war, and free love, and love who you want to love. That's how they came, angel of light mode. It's love who you want to love. And that's when the swirl and stuff was pushed, and all kinds of other alternative lifestyles started gaining more momentum in the mainstream. It wasn't as big as it is now, but they started making more noise, because in the 50s, man, that was unheard of. Like back then, even just a brother being with a white woman was like, oh, how dare you? Let alone let somebody alphabet raise up and come around. They wasn't having that. Like back then, they was actually out there killing folks for dating, outside of their ethnicity, and for being alphabet. They would kill people for that. So what they did was they switched it around and tried to say, that's wrong to kill people. That's horrible. You should be able to love who you want to love. So here's the problem that we presented. Now here's our solution. But our solution comes with tainted poison, because just as you said, look at what we have right now. Look at it was like what the sister said. The women is the one that's out here feeding these baby factories for Molech, and they can do that because now they're telling them that it's empowering for them to go out and sell their body. It's empowering to debase yourself. If you just, what's her name? I forget the name of this one. It was this one of these celebrity chicks that be out there, messing with all the celebrity dudes. Amber Rose. She was out here talking about, trying to basically fight. I'm retaking the word slut, and she basically calls herself this, and she had a walk called the Slut Walk, where a bunch of women got together calling themselves sluts and started walking down the street, for their empowerment movement. It was like the million man march, but with women claiming to be this, derogatory thing. And they say this is empowerment. They teach you to debase yourself and say that it's good. It's demonic. It's all demonic, man. And that was the whole reason for, us even coming out and having this today, for us bringing this all out, because it's time out for this stuff to be secretly affecting us in the body, and for us to just be looking at it and not acting like we don't see it, but it is what it is. It's just like what the sister said. Plenty of, I know, man, it's Christian Mingle? They got one for Christians too. Christian Mingle. They got these little dating for all them dating things is just filth and trash. And what they do too is they also create bad, it messes with our relationships. It's not natural. It's not a natural way of looking at things. You got, women now, they'll come up and they'll pass on good men because they feel like, I got this. I got all these guys trying to match with me. I don't even want to see this guy. One of these guys might be a millionaire, so I'm going to pass on these guys. Dudes is out there, this ain't big enough for me, or I might be able to get somebody with a bigger this or a bigger that, or look like this or look like that, or got this or got that. So now it's creating these unrealistic expectations, and it's just messing up people's mindsets. And it's what keeps feeding into this nonsense of all the pornography and stuff. Because now you got people more alone because they don't want to get married. You got people all alone because they can't get in relationships with each other. And this literally fuels the porn industry right now, and fuels all these broken homes that we see. Because everybody, they'll hook up. They don't have problems with hooking up. But the problem is having a real relationship, because real love doesn't come from lust. You will never get real love from a lustful situation. If it's born and set in lust, it's going to just cause problems, because lust ain't about love. Lust is just about what you can get right now. So, man, I appreciate you coming up, Don. That was a good point, man, for good bringing up. I appreciate everybody, that came up today. I appreciate you coming through today, Brother Aero, man. Our conversations are always dope, and I'm like, man, we got to have this conversation, and I'm so glad that we did.
Absolutely,
I'm so glad that we did. You know what I'm saying? So with this one, man, I'm just going to go ahead and, we're going to wrap it up for that one. I really appreciate all, y'all coming out today. I really appreciate everybody coming out, and I don't want to leave you with just, nothing. It's just like what we had. Let me see, where's that scripture that we had brought up before? There we go. I want to leave y'all with the same scripture that I came out with in Matthew 5. You have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman or man to lust after her committeth adultery with her already in his heart or her heart. And if thy right eye offend thee, pluck it out and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. And if thy right hand offend thee, cut it off and cast it from thee, for it is profitable for thee that one of thy members should perish, and not that thy whole body should be cast into hell. let that scripture be the thing that you get. That's what I think about whenever craziness, whenever that right hand want to start offending you.
Yeah.
Whenever that right hand coming up to bring offense and whatnot, that's what I think about. It's like when we say, hey, go get up, move from the situation. A lot of times too is when you go to a common situation, that's when that thing comes up. So I know that, hey, if ever something happened and me and wifey beefing, I can almost expect it to, oh, here comes Lust gonna try to come. Oh, because it knows that you and her not seeing eye to eye right now, so it's finna come in and come with the nonsense. Or, oh, you got disappointment. A lot of times it be emotional ties that trigger these things. A lot of times it don't even be lust. A lot of women has given themselves up just because they didn't want to be lonely, just because they didn't want to sleep alone, and they're willing to let a man do whatever just so they can have somebody there with them at night. There's dudes that have done the same. That they just don't, dudes don't want to act like, oh, I'm tough for that. Nah, good, good and well. Sometimes you be sitting there late at night, laying by yourself. You're like, man, it'd be nice to have somebody roll over. Say no, they know we got to be honest with ourselves. Yes. We have to be honest with ourselves and with our feelings. You got anything you want to bring, Brother Aero, before we go?
Yeah, I'm gonna say like that. When it comes to sexual desires, whether you're married or unmarried, he says flee sexual morality. Don't walk, don't crawl, flee, run. Get your Jordans, get your Nikes on, cross train wherever you got, and run. Don't play with that. The one thing I can say is this: especially when it comes to sexual desires. Sexual desires, especially, in men, I'm talking to specifically. Brother, we know when that feeling come up, don't sit there and play like, oh, I got the strength to overcome in my own will and power. You're going to be worn down in a matter of minutes. You'll be done. He says, what the Lord said, submit yourselves therefore to God. Resist the devil and he shall flee from you. Notice the order. Submit yourselves unto God. Resist the devil, he shall flee from you. So don't try to say, I'm going to resist the devil first. No, you're going to lose. Guaranteed. It's over. Submit yourself to Yah. When those feelings are coming up saying, Father, I submit my body to you as a living sacrifice, to be holy and acceptable unto you. And you keep your eyes focused on him. You are submitting. And by that submitting, you're automatically resisting the enemy right then and there. But again, it's keep your eyes on, he said, set your mind on things above where Messiah is, see at the right hand of the Father. That's what we had to do to combat this thing. Like I said, again, from the mess I had to deal with when I saw those magazines back in the day, that's what I had to learn to do. That's the only way I know how to fight. It's like, I'm going to the word, I'm going to my Father. If I'm not trying to fight this on my own strength, I'm going to lose. Guaranteed. Let me go to the say, let me, Father, I submit myself to you. Use my body as you please. This is about you created. You use it. And only then does the temptation start going away.
That's facts, man. I used to tell people I put on my Air Josephs and get to running. The Air Jordans, I put on the Air Josephs and run, man. You got to run, man. My man Joseph ran so he left his clothes. That's how fast he was running. I know the Bugs Bunny cartoons we run and the shirt and pants be there because they run so fast. My man left his shirt and pants there when he was hauling. And now you got to know, Potiphar's wife was an Egyptian woman. I mean, was Egyptian. She was a sister. So she wasn't no ugly, sideways looking chick. She was not no. I remember looking at the Bible shows back in the day, and they would show the European Potiphar's wife, and I'm like, man, they don't do that woman no justice. They don't do her no justice. Like he wasn't running from no old hag looking behind chick. She was looking nice. So if the devil comes as an angel of light, it's always gonna have all the stuff that you like, all the stuff that you want. But man, you gotta get yourself out of that situation. If certain people cause you to sin like that, get from around those people. If certain situations cause you to get like that, stay out of those situations. It's just like drugs, really, because you got to understand it's dopamine rush in your mind. That's what really start messing you up. The science of it is it starts messing you up. And that's why you'll get so caught up in pornography to where actual physical sexual relations won't do nothing for you. Yes. Because your brain is so programmed to go after images and it's programmed off of pornography, where you get with the real thing, your brain's like, what do I do with this? What do I do with this? I want to change the video now. I want to go to a new person. What do I do with this? What do I do with this? This doesn't feel like the hand. This doesn't feel like the young ladies, men's genitalia don't vibrate at 12,000 RPMs.
Right. Exactly.
And I can tell you from experience. I was with a person that had this problem. You do that stuff, you will not be able to have natural relations anymore because you use this thing so much that your body won't react to a man. It won't react like normal to a dude. Same thing with dude. I think there's a study now going where a lot of young men are having erectile dysfunction. They're young men, young in their 20s. It used to be something for old men. They had, what, Bob Dole on the Viagra commercial and all that. Now it's young men coming out here doing this because of pornography.
Yeah.
Because of all this lust and this perversion is leaving. It's like what the Bible said, leaving the natural use of your Bible. It's abnormal and it's messing them up. They young and they can't even function normal because their brain has been inundated with nonsense since they were children. A lot of these kids have been, man, parents, the worst thing you can do is put a tablet in your kids' hands. I'm going to do another build, and I'm going to talk about technology, and I'm going to talk about stuff to make people smart in technology and in tech, and give parents some ideas on some things that you can get to, get to help you with your kids and your devices and stuff, because, that's kind of what I do. And I did it before one time back in the day in the church, and everybody loved it, so I'm definitely going to bring it. It's definitely needed now, because guess what? You can't just be handing your children these devices just unopened like that. The internet is full of knowledge, but it's also full of filth. And so you have to be vigilant. I mean, I'm talking about I've had to work on the computer and do work when I didn't feel like doing it, but I care about my son's soul. So I don't want to give him unfettered access to the internet. So I'm not just going to hand him something. And even if I got to do extra work all night to get it done, I'm going to get it done. So it's something that, I'm definitely going to cover in the next one, man. I appreciate you coming out, Brother Aerospike, again. I appreciate everybody coming out into this build, man. Like we said, just use the tips that we gave. I hope this is truly edifying for everybody, because this is something that we really need to get up out of us. It's been for too long, been secretly, creepily rolling in it, and it's time to put a light on it. I'm not, like I said, it's hammer time out here, man. I'm not making no more apologies. The gloves is coming off. We calling all this nonsense out. It's time out for the secret sins, and I'm like to call them the pet sins. People like it because it's the sin that you like, so you keep it as a pet. Oh well, it's not that bad, and I can do it at night. I'm sitting. No. We got to get rid of all of it, man. So again, I appreciate y'all coming out to this episode of Thoughts Brewing, man, and y'all have a blessed rest of the Shabbat, and y'all have a blessed week.